say.
My name is Quayla. I feel like there's a couple things that I would like to point out. First and foremost, more than one thing can be true at the same time, and we need to be aware of that. Secondly, what Khalid was trying to say, which I really feel he was trying to say, is that there's a system of dismantlement of the Black family in America that has gone on, and this has to be added to the conversation as it relates to why there's such frustration right now about the effects of some other cause. So I heard everything that
You
has been.
got low, sister. Can you get back? You was okay.
I heard everything that was being said, but the reality is that to be frustrated at the effect, you'll never get to the foundation and actually fix something. Now, to answer the original question, why is marriage on the decline? It's multiple reasons. Marriage is on the decline on both men and women, not just men. Men don't want to get married because they don't want to take the responsibility. It doesn't seem to be beneficial to them. But for women, it is the same thing. There are many women that are choosing celibacy over being in relationships with men in general right now. So as a group, two, two sides are both deciding, fuck y'all, we don't want to get married. And that's
Is that true? Because I thought
yes,
that
Not
marriage.
true.
Hold on, I thought that marriage worked like this. I get on my knee. So if I get on my knee, I'm not understanding the part you saying opt out. The
what,
guy's not getting on their knee to propose
what
to
I'm
their
referring
woman.
to is that women are choosing to be celibate. They're choosing to not get into relationships as well.
Celibate?
Nah, that's cap. You got a few.
Yeah, that's not true. Where those
Speaking
women
for
at?
the,
Well, let me just
not,
say this,
you're
because we were
speaking
talking
for the
about a couple of
exception.
different,
That's an
we were talking
exception.
about a different, we were
The
talking about a
small
couple of different
percentage of women
conversations
choose.
throughout this whole process. There have been many conversations that have been had, and I want to address as many of them as I can at this point. First off, I've been married for 20 years. I have had a decent marriage. I've got 3 children. I was able to homeschool my children. So when the original lady, I think her name was Thriving, came up and she says, "Why are you not thriving?" That was a really important question that I think needed to be asked. Because the reality is that we have to look further than this, all of this stuff that we've been talking about is surface level stuff. And that's why we're not getting nowhere as a group of people. Ultimately, there's dysfunction in the whole connection between Black men and Black women. Now, I think another thing that we have to look at is we have to decide and determine what scale of relationships are we talking about this from. Like, are you talking about marriage and relationships from the colonizers mindset, from the indigenous mindset? Like, we have a
Can I ask you a question?
various different levels in which we need to look at these things. And I think that we're so,
You say the colonizers mindset. What you mean?
well, what I mean is that Black men and Black women are not the same as white men and white women. So we are trying to live the Caucasian standard by being while being black men and Black women. It's never going to work like that. We are trying to
Can I,
hold each other to the standards of some other group.
What's the Caucasian standard?
I don't know, but it ain't gonna work with us. Like when you look
can
at
I ask you a question?
the reason why, because when you look at income, somebody mentioned income and education.
Oh my
Black
God.
women ain't trying to get income and education just to tell Black men that we don't need you, that we can be independent. That's not why they're doing that. They're doing that for a better standard of living.
Can I say something?
Mm,
Sure.
All right. Let me tell you this, right? And I hate when women say this shit, right? So if you're married to a black man, right? This is your black man, and then you talk behind the scenes, talk about like blacks and whites, right? You will listen to that white man. Your job, you will listen to that white man and do everything that damn white man say, then rather listen to your black husband
I'm a
and
business owner. I don't listen to no
a
white man.
lot of a lot of a lot of
I'm
women
a
do.
business owner. I don't listen to no white man. The only man
but
that tells me
her,
It might
oh
not
my
be
God.
you, but it happens. It
well,
happens.
I know it happens, but see, that's the problem here. Now, see,
But you pay your taxes though, right? You pay taxes. You're not all independent like you say you are. You know, you come up here and you inserted race into this argument. You inserted race into this argument and you're trying to make it seem like you self-sufficient. Oh, I'm a business owner. I don't have no YT man over me and all of this stuff, but you pay taxes. You in America. You're not all, exclusive like you think you are. You shop at grocery stores.
That's
You
the law.
got your
That's
health
the law of the
insurance. All
land.
of that goes back to the YT man. Stop playing.
That's the law of the land. Now we
Yeah,
live
well,
in
well,
a
get
free
get
country.
get
We
off
live
of it
in
then. Get
a
out
free
get
country.
get off of it again. Just get out. Go to California. They need help down there.
Nah, but Quayle, when you said the white standard, you know how many poor white people in this country?
This is ridiculous. This is the type of
More
shit that
than
I'm
black
talking
people.
Right,
about.
exactly.
More
Exactly.
than
This
Feel
is
black
the
just
people.
like
type
we
of
do.
this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. This is the type of covert feminism that I'm talking about. Like you are married for 20 years,
I
live
have
in a
been.
house, and have 3 kids, and you're gonna get up here and talk this level of bullshit that you're saying?
Hold on.
Seriously?
What level of bullshit? Go ahead
Oh
and
my God.
clarify me on where the
Listen,
bullshit
this
started.
is what it is, guys. This is what covert feminism looks like, okay?
This is not about
This is
feminism.
what covert
First of all, that's not what
feminism
this is about.
looks like. You
What
live
this
in a
is
house
about
with a
is this.
man. You've been married for 20 years
Listen,
and
guys,
you have
you
3 children, and then you still get up here and speak on this level of stupidity that you're spewing out of your mouth.
it's
It's
not
ridiculous.
stupidity.
That keeps women in such a dense place. That keeps
Meanwhile,
other women
the
who don't have
conversation.
the marriage like you do in such a dense place.
Deleted my ex-husband.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness,
So,
man.
so, so,
This
what
shit is
dense
so
place are we talking
frustrating.
about? What dense place are we talking about?
Oh,
Because in the
this shit is
reality,
frustrating.
you know what? You can get as frustrated as you want to, but you still have to sit here and listen to the conversation because you're not the only person with an opinion. You're not the only person who has something to say, and you're not all right. I gotta tell you
Make
that.
sense though. Make it make sense though.
Okay,
That's
well,
what I'm saying.
what part
Now
makes
you got a
Make
Yeah,
it
point,
but
make
but you
you
making
can
sense.
lose
some
your
what
attitude
statements
part?
with her.
though.
You can lose
Make
your
it make
attitude with her.
sense.
What
You
part?
can lose your attitude with her,
What
respectfully. You
part?
can lose your attitude with
What
her.
Understand
part?
what I'm saying? You
What
get
part?
you listen. Well, you have to be quiet so I can tell you the part, love.
I'm listening.
You've been married for 20 years. You have children. Okay, you're gonna really get up here and speak in this way that you speak into. This is a level of covert feminism.
Okay, well,
There's
tell me
women.
which part.
Listen,
Tell me
please.
which part.
There are women up here,
Tell
down
me
there
which
in those
part.
comments who are not married. Okay, and
Correct.
probably will never get married.
Correct.
You want to start talking on white tea people level, white
Well,
tea
yeah,
people.
because black
What
women are
is
not
what are you
experiencing the
saying?
same things as white women. White women
Because
understand
I
the
guess what white
concept of
women are not
relationships.
doing. Guess
White
what
women
white women
have
are
a
not
clear
doing.
understanding on
White women
how
are not
to
out here
get
saying that they
into
don't need a
connections and
man.
relationships with men.
White women are
White
not
women
saying that they
have
don't need a
specific
man. They're
teachings
not saying,
that they
oh,
are
I'm not
taught
listening to no
that
man.
black women
I'm
in
not gonna
America
listen
have
to no
not
man. I'm a
been taught.
Now,
businesswoman, so I don't
Quayla,
have to
you made
listen
a
to no
So the
man.
statement.
reality is, you're
Girl,
not
I
Quayla,
don't
going to
you
listen
get
made
to
a
no
no
statement
man.
saying that
What
black
are you
people trying
talking
to live up
about?
the standard of white men, and I took that offensive
What
because
the hell are you talking
what?
about?
You know how
Big
many
facts.
poor
I
white
heard this
trash
too.
Oh
people in
my
America?
God.
you give me what I gotta say though.
Oh
You
my
gotta tell me
God.
the reasons for what we're talking about. I can't
This is ridiculous.
I can't speak for everybody. Issues at all. Yes, they you don't say that. Period. It's not, but I think that
Oh my
you have
Lord.
to be considerate though. And I think to come in a conversation and to try to attack our whole community because you don't like it.
Girl, you don't have no community. You don't have no community. What are you talking about community? Y'all don't even stick together. You don't even
I pay
shop
my
First
together.
of
taxes. I
all,
pay
first
my
You
of all,
don't even have a
taxes. I can say
community.
whatever the
who
hell
is
I want to
y'all?
say.
I'm on this
How
conversation
much
Pay
because
my
money?
I want
How
to
many
taxes.
times
listen to
your
them.
dollars circulate in your
Who is
community? How
y'all?
many times does
Pay
your
my
dollars
taxes.
circulate in your
Who is
community?
y'all, honey? Because I'm
Pay
still
my
on this
You. I'm
taxes.
conversation.
talking about you.
I'm on this
Pay my
conversation.
taxes.
I'm on
Pay
this
my
conversation.
taxes.
I'm on this
Pay my
conversation.
taxes.
And not to mention,
I
yeah,
pay
I'm
into the
gonna pay.
treasury
Yeah, I pay for
departments.
taxes. What does that have to do with
Pay
anything?
into the treasury departments.
Let me tell you
Pay into
something.
the I run a shelter.
I have
I
a
do a lot of
channel.
things in my
I have
community.
a channel, and I
Pay
talk to people on a daily
I don't
basis.
care. I don't care about nothing that you're saying. This is the level of covert feminism.
I talk to people on a
Why
daily
are the
basis.
women arguing?
One of the things that I talk
Because
about in
this
my
is what it
life.
is.
No,
I'm
that's the thing. They always so righteous
of
with
course
right. Come on,
it's
bro.
very
They gotta be
frustrating.
checked. They gotta be
First
checked.
of all, am I gonna be able to speak?
That's the thing.
Am I
All
gonna?
y'all black women, y'all have entitlement. Y'all have entitlement issues.
What
You have
entitlement are you
entitlement
talking
issues.
about?
You have entitlement issues.
Here's the thing. I would like to speak before. I would like to speak. Can I speak, please? Because I really wasn't done talking, and I don't mind
Oh
having a
my Lord.
conversation, but I don't want to go at somebody. So I would like to ask that I can have the time to speak when my turn comes. Yes. The reality is,
Can we go around with
well, when I originally came into the
can we
conversation,
go around with 2 minutes apiece to try to give everybody a chance to
no
get their
problem.
perspective out? Can we do that?
No problem. When I originally came into the conversation, there were multiple layers of conversations that were being had at one time. So I'm trying to address multiple of those statements or those concepts of the conversation that we were having. So unfortunately, so many thoughts are coming out at the very same time. I spend on a daily basis, I go live and I talk to women about marriage, about getting married, about how to get married, about how to be happy in relationships. I talk about many of those things. So to come at me and pretend that I'm not a part of my community is falsification, obviously. Now, when I was talking about the race thing, it's not to upset you, it's not to incite your anger, but we do have to look at the fact that financially, marriage is going to look different for us financially, because on a financial scale, there are a lot less finances and resources that we have available to us in our community. So this is what I'm talking about when I said that the difference between a white relationship and a black relationship, that includes that and a couple of other things as well. But honestly, somebody coming in here and telling me, talking about paying taxes, of course I pay taxes. What I was trying to say, what Marcus is saying, is that I don't go to a job, and I have not in probably about 14 years gone to a job where a white man told me how to be. And then I went home and did not listen to my husband. That never happened for me. So I'm not coming from the same perspective that you guys are addressing. What I did notice, though, was this anger and this resentment towards Black women in this conversation. So to talk about feminism, and then also at the same time, you're sitting here and you are being, without considering any of the issues that Black women or Black men or Black people in general have faced in this country, you're coming into this conversation with your judgmental mentality from another culture where y'all have the teachings of your culture, and then you're bringing that mindset into this conversation, and you are attacking those people in the community. And that's what
can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I say something? Like, when you have the outside looking in, and you have people from different cultures, like y'all say, like a lot of like what we call it, FBAs or whatever, right? Foundational Black Americans, right? Y'all, a lot of times, when it's Africans or somebody from another country, right? They just point the obvious, like what's going on. Like they're seeing things from maybe their other country and everything.
Right, I get it.
And it's basically, it's about like how you're treated. So what she was saying is like, yo, this is how we this is what we know, and this is how we should treat people. Like, if they're giving criticism about like how foundational black women are treating foundational Black men. Like, there's no reason why foundational Black men should even be trying to go overseas and try to get another race and get married. And these guys like are saying that's why they're leaving, and then you shame them for leaving. Like, oh, you can't handle a Black woman. That's the American, like that's what the American women say, especially American Black women say. So if I say if these guys are saying that I'm going over here for this reason because I'm not treated right, so then you go and say some crazy stuff. So when a woman from Africa, from England, or whatever, right?
I ain't saying that crazy though.
Says that, y'all, I get it.
Right.
I get it. This is how we came up.
Right.
And if you want, like, I don't know if you go to church or anything like that. I don't know. But when you go to like a lot of Black people in church and they talk about honoring their man and doing all this, yeah, they be up there hooping and hollering and all that mess, man. Like, they love their man and all that mess, man. And then they treat men like shit. These women are saying like, look, This is what we see.
Right, and I get that. I think my issue
We
here.
were don't get mad if we take them if these guys were like if if they're sitting there telling you like a lot of guys, I'm sitting here like, hey, I'm sitting here damn well girl was saying. I'm sitting there like, damn, I was thinking damn, this is music to my damn ears, man. I cannot find an American woman to even think that way.
Right,
You can't get mad about that shit.
right.
I,
Well,
I
first
just,
off, I was never
yo, I have
angry
to
or
definitely
upset.
disagree with
I
that.
was.
I'm going to
I was never
I have to
upset.
disagree with that. And I don't want to cut you off. I don't know how to
No,
pronounce your
you
name,
good. You good.
but I have to disagree with that because a problem with a lot of American people often want to look outside of the country, what's being done out there, and you think that whatever's going on outside of this country that is not that don't deal with us or deal with growing up or being born in this country, they're preying on us too. Well, you should be like this or you should be like
Right,
that. That is
right.
not the case because they don't understand the fact. And obviously, as most black men find it easier to go out there and like, oh, well, yeah, oh, this is how it should be. Yes, because accountability is not being put on either
It's
side
not on the. It's not on the table.
to do the things in this country with our own people to
Mm-hmm.
fix the things that need to be fixed without trying to outsource what makes you
Mm-hmm.
comfortable without doing the things internally and to relate with your black friends, your black brothers and your community to change the things that can affect us that affect you so we don't have to go outside of the damn country to find anybody.
Period.
Hey,
We
hey,
got
hey,
some
hey,
appreciation
I
for
want
And
to
you,
that,
say
and
man.
that is the
something.
I
problem
think
now.
the
Hold on,
biggest
hold on,
It's
hold
issue
on.
even
is
thinking
Hey,
about going outside
hey,
of
hey,
race
can I
is
say
something that is
something,
When
please?
there's
crazy.
no
Can I,
accountability,
can I please
Accountability,
say something?
100%.
accountability.
Can I please say
How is
something?
that going to
Can I,
happen?
please,
It
please let me
happens.
say
It
something.
happens. Accountability
Gio, is
happens.
this
Please.
you?
Can I
Gio,
please
is
say
Accountability
this you,
something?
happens.
Gio?
Can I
Gio, is this
please say
you?
something?
Yeah, that yeah, Thanos is kind of been.
Gio, this is you?
I'm not
Who?
sure.
Gio? Oh, Thanos. Oh.
No, I was asking. I just want to say this here. Hey, big play, bro. I just did 20 years in prison, man, and I used to watch you, dog,
No, that's
when I
not
was
you.
locked up. I've been out for 2.5 years now, man, and I feel fortunate, man, to finally be on your platform, brother. I listen, I follow you on Instagram, I follow you on Snapchat, I follow you on here. My last couple of years in prison, man. You know what I'm saying? I ran across your page, and I've been locked in since.
Thank you.
Um, and
Thank you.
and and
Oh,
and
welcome
um,
home, Thanos.
and
Welcome home, brother.
and thank y'all, man. First and foremost, man. I want to say this, what I'm saying, to some of the people that tend to fault everything that goes on in other people's lives like it's going on in their life. I just want to throw myself in this fire right quick. I did 20 years in prison, lost my mom and dad. When I got out, I moved to Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I'm from Miami, Florida. No friends, no family, nobody in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I was determined when I got out. I seen so many examples of dudes coming back for the wrong reason. They got out and did the wrong thing. It's a choice. They got out and did the wrong thing. They got out and went back to the same energy that sent them to the place that they feared most. They got out and chased the same dreams that sent them to the beds where they had the most nightmares at. So what I did, I took it upon myself, me with a choice. I took it upon myself to go someplace else and start over new. I live a new life. I do things differently. I think differently. I conduct myself differently. But at the end of the day, I hold myself responsible as a man on what choice that I am going to make that's going to affect me. Me, myself, from what I have seen since I've been out of prison, the number one thing that has hurt our community is that we believe in solidifying the futures of other races while neglecting our own race. I'm gonna give you an example. Oh, I need a Birkin bag. I need a Mercedes Benz. I need this. I need that. This what we are told that we have to do in order to make our women happy. So what we do, we go work 60, 70 hours a week just so she can look good in somebody else's mess to assure their future, their generation, their seeds, their kids. It's a choice that we making. We not taking what we earning and investing in us. We taking what we earning and investing and assuring them. That's the big difference. The lady that's been married 20 years, hey man, that's beautiful. It ain't too many people that's been in a relationship for even 1 year. I'm a fortunate man.
Right.
I'm a fortunate man. I have a beautiful woman, really a beautiful wife, because to me, that's what I'm always gonna treat her like. She don't have to walk down the aisle for me to treat her like a wife. She gonna get that because that's the way she was made. But with what I just want to share with you all is that whatever you choose to do in your everyday life, yes, our community is crippled. Yes, we are upholding the standards and traditions of other races. Yes, we do this. Every day we do it. We see it every day. But I think the beauty in it is looking at what people are doing and not making those same mistakes to cripple yourself.
Every day
That's
you
what
have
I
an
want to
opportunity
say.
to change. Every day you have an opportunity to change. The
Hello.
issue, real quick, that I want to point out though, I remember going to the church and feeling condemned for not knowing or for not being exactly what they said I should be. My only point that I was trying to make is that we're arguing at the effects, not the causes of why marriages and relationships are not where they should be right now. We got to look at the causes, not the effects.
It's the
So
myth.
actually,
Okay.
when Earth Goddess mentioned what she mentioned, I agreed with what you were saying, but as Khalid was trying to point out, there is a whole system that has created this mess that we in right now. How we gonna get out of it is the point.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello, everybody.
What she
can
just
I say
said, based
something?
on
Can
based
I
off of
say
Thanos,
something, please? I
based off of
mean,
Thanos, what he just said, carrying back on what he just said, just because that you go out and yes, you can find those things and have your outside sources or whatever, but you still have to be able to know who you are and fix the things within yourself
Absolutely.
as a man or as a woman to create that thing. Going outside, and it goes back to Marcus, because that you went out of the country and you come back home to your wife to say do better. That should have been something for you to say do better, because it goes both ways, because your wife can go out of the country and get the same treatment. You understand? So knowing do what you need to do, like Thanos said, do what you need to do, step out to learn about yourself. It's not trying to find someone to fit your need or comfortability, because you're still trying to grow. I think that's what he was saying too for Thanos. Go out and grow and see the world that's going to fix you and grow you. Don't find someone that's going to
That's
find
what
you
I said.
comfortable. Yes, but you also said that I went out there and I was getting all the love with who you are today, knowing that
Being
there still needs to be
nice.
growth and
Like
yeah. Can I please
just
say
being
something?
nice.
I have a few minutes here. Can I please say something, please? Thank you so much. Thank you, host, for the opportunity to come on your platform. I think this is a very good topic that we should be talking about in our community or society. I do have a couple of points why I think that marriages are not working, are declining in our community today. The first point I will point out is there's a lot of comparison in the home. There's a lot of comparison between men and women inside of the home. Maybe men are trying to compete with women, women trying to compete with men, on who is superior and all of that stuff. I feel like that is first of all an issue. There's a lot of comparison between both of them are fighting. I think another thing is the lack of marriage education in our community. It
Yes.
seems like we don't understand what is marriage from both sides. Like it seems like, men don't really understand what is marriage. Women too sometimes. I feel like also we women, some of us actually, it's not everybody, but some of us women, we don't also understand what is marriage. And because of that, we get into marriages and we just do whatever and we get out of it just anyhow because we don't even know what it is to begin with. Sometimes people even get into marriages forgetting that it's a holy matrimony. You have to be faithful to your wife, your husband. You have to respect your spouse, your partner, all of that stuff. You're getting there, you think you can do anything because you don't even know what marriage is to begin with. And that is something that our community doesn't really teach us to do. Like they kind of like raise us, oh, you need to be a good kid, you need to focus on your education, you need to focus on, career and stuff like that. They don't really talk about, also like how to prepare you for marriage if they're expecting us to get married. That is something that is not talked about a lot in our community. I feel like another thing is people get married for the wrong reasons. People are getting, some people use marriage as a way of getting rich. Yeah, some people, they use marriage as a way to become financially stable. Some people, get married for just to have kids. That's it. If you just to have kids. Some people use marriage for funny reasons, or they just get married for the wrong reasons. And if you don't have the right reasons why you're getting married, you would find, we will find ourselves continuing to make the same mistakes. So those will be my points that I think, why our marriages are declining. If we as a people can work on understanding that when it comes to marriage, you have, anyway, I believe, so let me talk about what I think it is. So, maybe for somebody else, it might be different, but I believe that in a home, there's supposed to be structure, and there is a head of the house, and you have a man who is the head of the house, and then you have a woman. And inside of that house, you have, you guys are going to work together in partnership. And I believe that inside of marriage, both genders have roles. If you're trying to compete, it's a problem. The man knows he has to protect and provide. The woman knows she has to care, and nurture her home. When you guys are trying to compete for both and try to mix it up, it becomes difficult. So yeah, that will be my point, to say that women should know their place, men should know their place, men should know their roles, women should know their roles. We should try to educate our children more on what marriage is, and not just talking about career and this and that. And then when they grow up, we just want them to get married after the career, but we haven't even spoken to them or trained them at all on what marriage is and what to expect or what to do in marriages. So those will be my points. And of course, we want to empower our kids, so we want them to, be better people in the society, but at the same time, we don't want them to be competing with men. A man is a man, and a woman is a woman. And what we women see as love from men is like, we love the attention that men would give us, and we would take it as love. For men, they take love as respect. And I mean, I'm a Christian, so I look at it from a Christian perspective, where men appreciate love as respect. So if you're a woman and you don't respect your man, he can't take it that you love him. So those will be my my points that I have to make as to some of the reasons why marriages in our community is declining.
Can I
Thank you.
can I push back on that if you don't mind? Can I?
Sure.
Yeah. So you're saying all this what men should be doing, right? So did men think about this? Men from the jump, did should men have to worry about that when men had to get out there and build infrastructure and do all that? Like, did men have to worry about that? What's the difference? What's the difference? Like,
I can
my
I
thing
can tell you
is,
what the difference is. So in the past, women were more like financially reliant on men. Like, there were more stay-at-home wives, or there were more wives, right? And men
yeah,
were the ones that were providing, or out there getting the money and coming to provide. In today's society, you find women in jobs like that you would not even imagine them to be. Sometimes you even see women owning businesses or doing, way better in the community compared to years ago, where men were more lucky to get jobs and do all of those things. So you find this competition, where in those days when men were known to be like fully solely like sole providers, But in
Do
our community today, women can provide for themselves, right? And because women can provide for themselves, if you're not able to, even though you have money as a woman, if you're not able to identify that a man is a leader, or a man is him being your husband that you have chosen is a leader, you guys would begin to compete, because you might see him less if you make more money than him.
The only reason why that would happen is if a man is not showing that he is the leader by making sure that he remains and maintains his ambition in life and continues to grow.
You have to give your man the space to be the leader,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And
yeah.
Also,
Hold on.
it's not
Let
just
me
it's not just that. I think that men also see, the thing is, I think I agree with what you're saying. I don't disagree, but I think that there is a mindset of men that a lot of us can see clearly that are not on that level. Their mindset is not there. They are not elevating. They're not continuing to grow, and this is something that women are going to do. They're going to grow, and so
Who's raising the man? Who's
as
raising the
long as
man?
as long as the man is
What are you talking about?
continuing to, grow and elevate, that woman will always follow that man, and she will always maintain being submissive to that man, no matter what her career path, or even if she was like a business owner, whatever, she will maintain that. That doesn't change. That doesn't change as
That's
long as that
lying.
man
Yeah,
Hey,
himself.
can I break something down? Let me
hold
break
on.
something down to y'all. Let me
Yeah,
break
Marcus.
something down
Okay,
to
yeah,
y'all, right?
yeah,
Let me
go.
45 seconds, right? So if a man, if a woman, say if a woman makes 70K a year and the guy makes 40K a year, that man, if he's a strong man, he's not intimidated about anything.
Correct.
Like he's gonna do other things. Like, all right, you make more money, you have to work more or whatever, right? You about your career. If a woman's making 70K a year, she's working all the fucking time. So he supports her. He's taking care of the kid. He's doing whatever. He's not intimidated by anything, because you know what the key factor is? I have a child by you, and we're doing this family thing. If this child wasn't in the picture, I'll be making like $150,000 a year. Like, if you know, I'm not saying that's every man. I'm not saying that's every man. But if you meet a guy, he's making $70,000 a year. That's whatever, $70,000 a year. That's pretty good. When you have some type of work ethic, $70,000 a year is not. It's really hard to make. So men don't give a men don't give a damn. Look, I was in the military. And I always said this, like I was a broke young military dude. I was like, man, the boat, like, what he used to tell me? Hey, man, don't mess with them broke women, man. You in the military, bro. You better get a girl that make more than you. And we was one of them guys. It's like, oh man, we bragging like, oh man, she made all this goddamn money. You made your money and everything. And this is back in the 90s, early 2000s and everything. But what I'm saying, dudes don't give a damn about what you make. Hey, a guy could be broke and you could be making $100,000 a year.
But you should care.
He'll leave your ass
Oh
on
my
GP.
goodness.
On GP.
Mr. Marcus, can
On
I
You
say
GP.
should
something,
care,
please?
though. Like, you
Yeah,
should
can
care.
Mr.
My
Marcus,
God.
I believe that. I know sometimes men say that, oh, we don't really care about what women, make and stuff like that. But I believe it's a lie, and maybe it's a way to
Yeah.
kind of, massage
Some
their
dudes
egos.
care.
Let me say
Some
let me say
dudes.
something. Let me say something. I think it's just a kind of a way to massage men egos, so they just say it like that to kind of, maybe make themselves feel better. But to be honest, like in today's economy, a one income does not take care of a home. Like one income does not take care of a home. right? You even need two, sometimes you even need three in order to take care of like a home and expenses. And with, if you have kids, to be able to run that house in this today's economy. And if you look at the suicide rate of
What
men
I'm
out
talking
there,
about.
if you look at the suicide rate of men, it's high. If you tell me that you want to live your life by yourself, where your wife's income, you don't want her to help you, then that's on you. But I believe that people, or just being a human being, you should want help from your spouse. You
I
should
know
definitely
women.
want help
I
from
know
your
women that
spouse.
work at. I
So
know
you
women
should be
that work
able
at
to
Oh my
acknowledge
God.
your
We
woman,
can't
whether
even
it's
listen
a
to this no
spouse
more
or
Yeah,
because
a
this
you
is
Somebody
man.
should.
working
You
at
should
Foot
be
I
Locker
able
and
can't
to
hollering
listen to
at the
this
acknowledge,
no
space
more.
you should
station.
be able to acknowledge and
This is
appreciate
not
a
about
Oh,
woman
this is not about
working,
you
right?
guys are
money.
giving me a
This is
tension headache. I can't listen
seriously.
to this no more. This
Thank
is
you. This is a
ridiculous.
lot,
Yeah, me
right?
too. This
This
is
is
too much shit,
This is
ridiculous.
not
man.
about
I
money,
What are
love
you
it
right?
guys
when
It
talking
is
moderators
about?
about
Why
money,
everything?
but
First
money
of
does
all, you
play a
guys are not
role.
even liking people on a cellular level. Y'all always want to jump to the surface things of money. Like,
Thank
why
you.
you need three
It's not about
incomes to take
money.
to take care of a household?
Yeah.
Why do you
Yeah.
need that? Why are people living so far above their means that you need to
Mhm.
be working three jobs to take? What are you talking?
Mhm.
What are you guys really talking about?
Marriage
The
Nothing.
real thing,
doesn't
what you're
have,
saying, right?
It's
What should,
it's not
ridiculous.
right? What you're,
about money, but marriage does
the real thing that should be
Shit.
focused on
quality of
is the
life.
fact that it's not about money. It's the fact
Quality of
that
life.
the uncomfortability of having interdependence. Interdependence is
Oh my
okay.
God.
As a woman, I can handle myself, or as a man, I can handle myself. And either way, whoever's doing it, how that makes them feel, that's a trauma response. I shouldn't have a problem with my man doing it all as I should as a woman. And if it were the roles reversed in any way, he shouldn't have an issue with me doing all the whatever. And that's not the goal.
Yeah.
But
Deuce.
knowing the roles, and I don't like to say, well, know your role, know your role. Yeah, we can
Right.
know our roles, but we have to be comfortable enough, accountable enough, emotionally mature enough to know, okay, that sometimes those percentages or those that scale is going to tip over a little
You
bit.
want you want to
Yeah.
talk
Hold on.
about
Yeah.
percentages. Let's address. Hold
Universe.
on. No, wait. No, you wait.
Khalid,
You
Khalid,
wait
you be
because
quiet for
you
a
too
second,
long. You
Khalid.
be quiet. Just wait. You want to talk about
Yeah.
percentages? Do you know that it's $18 billion in the cosmetic industry that comes from the BLK community?
What
Why
does that have to
y'all?
do
Why
with marriage?
you know what that has to do with marriage? It has a lot to do with marriage because you prioritize materialism over anything else. You
What did
prioritize
I say
looking
that was
good.
materialistic? What I just
Not
said.
you, Deuce.
You
Not
you
you, Deuce.
you
Not
not
you.
Oh,
you.
okay. I'm
Calm
listening.
down. So what I'm saying
Okay,
is
well, respectfully, can you please
18.
understand how we
No,
speak to
like
each
what?
other, right? Let's
Just I
speak to
didn't
each other with
interrupt you though.
respect.
You come barking like a hyena at me.
Okay,
Just be
I
quiet. I'm not
didn't.
talking to
Listen, there's
you.
multiple people speaking at
Okay,
once, right? So
whatever,
there's a way to
whatever. So
address the
it's 18
person.
Let him
billion
make a
dollars
point.
There's a
in
Let
way
him
to
make a
address
point.
the
it's 18
person,
billion.
and that's
Take
what
the
I'm
fucking
saying.
weave out your
Oh my
head.
God.
Now I'm here for you. Take the weave out
Hey,
your
come
Okay.
on.
head.
I want to hear. I want
Take
to
the
hear.
weave out your
Jesus
head.
Christ.
Cam up and take the weave out your motherfucking head. I'm here now.
Girl,
So like take
and
the weave out your
this is
head.
the
What's your
problem
real
too.
identity? If
Black
you love
women not
yourself,
knowing how
if
to
you love
speak to one
yourself
Oh
another.
my
so
It's
much,
God.
take the
disrespectful. You're
weave out your
right.
head. If
It's
you love yourself so
disrespectful.
much,
It's
take the
disrespectful.
weave
Disrespectful.
out
Can
your
we
Get
be
your
head.
point across
respectful?
Take the
without
weave out your
yelling.
head.
Better stay
Take
out
the
this
weave
shit.
out your head.
Can we be respectful?
Like I was
Please be
saying,
rude.
$18 billion in the cosmetic industry. And they talk about community, community, community. And then they talk about we don't have resources in our community. But how is it that we are the most prominent people in the world? We are the consumers. If we stop shopping, no one have anything to produce. They don't have anything to sell anybody else. We
Preach.
literally buy everything from everybody else. So if you
Mm-hmm.
want
Preach.
to strengthen your community, that $18 billion that we spend annually is a nice chunk to start banking, a banking system. We start everything that we need, apartment complex, infrastructure, and everything. But everybody want to look, want to keep up with the Joneses, want to be rich, want to look rich, but be broke, but making everybody else rich. Every other country,
Preach.
China, everybody else. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. It's
Preach.
okay to wear your natural hair. It's okay to wear your regular fingernails. It's okay to take the makeup off because you know what? You guys never did that for yourself. You're doing it to compete with other women. The men
Okay.
don't like it. The men telling
It's
you we
okay
don't
to just
like that.
wear your eyelashes. Why y'all can't put on some
Yeah,
mascara? You
the
can't
men
do
are
it.
telling you we don't like
Why
that.
do
We
we
want to
have
see
to?
you
But
naturally.
why does this have to be a part of the conversation where we have to
Because you
police
know
Because
why?
it
Because
ourselves
you
is.
have
Because
or
it
purple
or
hair
is.
and you feel
in
triggered.
order to
That's
appease you?
why.
No, actually, I'm not triggered, honey. I'm
Yeah,
fine with that.
if
Listen, I'm fine with
if it
that.
don't
I have
apply, let
natural
it
hair
fly.
right
You
now.
interjecting yourself into this, so be
I
quiet. I
am,
wasn't
but I
talking to
am.
you.
But the thing is, we want to point the fingers at the wrong thing. We looking at the effects, not the cause. Again,
We looking at the effect, not the cause. That's what I keep saying. I get what you're
Well, so
saying. I get what you're talking about, baby, but we're not looking at the
in
cause.
2025, so Qua, in 2025, what's the cost? We want to go back
At
to what?
2025 is education,
So
lack of
let me
education,
finish my
lack
question.
of
Let me finish my
maturity.
question. Let me
Yeah,
finish my question, love.
go ahead.
Okay, because it's 2025. You want to tell me that women can do everything else but learn how to shut the hell up and just listen sometimes? You want to tell me that they can go into a classroom? Don't come off mute, Deuce.
No, I
Don't come off
am.
mute.
Don't worry, I'm here.
Women can go into a classroom and listen to a professor and do all of these things, graduate summa cum laude, pledge all types of everything else, but they can't just shut the fuck up and just listen
Do
sometimes.
you think that that is the
They
reason,
can't.
the only
No,
reason?
listen. We was getting more married back in the 50s and the 60s than we are now,
Well, you said your
right?
culture been getting married. So,
When we was, excuse me, be quiet for a second. I'm talking
but see,
about
that's the
black
thing.
people
You're
overall
talking
because
about
I'm a
being
black
loud and
woman.
not able
Let her
to
I'm
speak.
listen.
talking about black people overall because I'm a black woman.
Uh-huh.
Let me say that again since the
Mhm.
purple here is covering up your ears.
Come
I'm
on,
speaking about overall because I'm a black woman.
come on.
Okay? Culturally speaking, my
Mm-hmm.
family always have to be married.
Mm-hmm.
Even the man, we have to play by the same rules. Even the man. Okay?
The point.
Cultural, that's a cultural thing. That's not a race thing.
The point.
Okay, so let me go back. Okay? Even in the 50s and the 60s, black people in America was getting married far more at a higher rate than we are today. What is the reason today in 2025 when women are so bloody independent? That is the fucking problem right there.
There's
You're too
multiple
independent.
reasons, and
You're
like
too
I said,
independent.
you
You're
still
too
want to talk
independent,
about
and
the
you still
effect,
can't
not the
listen.
cause,
You
honey.
don't.
We're
I don't
not
know how you've
talking
been
about
married for
what's
20 years and you do not actively listen. You do not actively listen.
honey. I've been listening the whole time. You
You
could go
don't
back on the
listen.
This is the
video.
thing, right? Let her
You're not
speak,
listening
right?
right
You can go
now.
back to
You're
the
not
Make your
video.
point.
listening.
Follow. Let her speak, sis.
She don't listen.
No,
No,
no.
I've been listening,
I
honey.
understand, but I
The
know how
thing is,
hard it is to
you keep
interject. I
coming.
know
You
how
keep
hard it is to
coming.
interject, but you gotta let each other speak. Okay? Just
It's
let her speak.
interesting.
Take
Can
your
I go
time.
I'm
Take a
next?
listening
note.
We
here.
Take
want
a
to go
wait,
back.
Marcus. Wait,
The whole
Marcus.
time.
We want to
Listen,
go back
See, just
all
take
the
your
because
note,
time.
right?
this woman has interrupted
Oh my
me,
God,
I
Jesus Christ.
understand, but in order to get
I got
respect,
it,
you have to give it, right?
but I did.
I understand, and listen, every day we're gonna have that moment. So I
I'm
did it,
good. No,
right?
I'm good.
In
I'm
the
good.
Bible, it
Please
says
continue
we
on.
have to forgive 70 times 7, right? Every day, right? So allow to speak, take a
I heard
minute,
God is
and
physically
hope
one.
that she gets whenever she's finished that she lets you speak. But this
Continue
back and
on.
forth and cutting each other off and being rude as black
Continue on.
women is
Continue
not
on.
that doesn't I don't like that either.
Continue on.
Can I go next?
No.
Yeah, I was trying to say something.
So,
Go ahead.
I'm saying that to say, right? It's like we want to blame everybody else. Anytime this word, this kryptonite word that comes up, you know what the word is accountability. That word right there, get everybody bent out of shape. Gets everybody bent out of shape. Why? You want to start blaming the white man, the white people, slavery, this, that, all type of shit except for yourself. Okay? That accountability is start with you. Because I don't understand how people gonna get on God's good internet and say, not you personally speaking, because you're not the only one. So let me put that out there. You've been married for 15 years, 20 years, 21 years, 8 years, 12 years, and yet you're still coming and you're telling women a bunch of fuckery while you're living inside of a house and talking about I'm independent. What level of independent can you actually be and you have a whole man there with you? That's so disrespectful to the man. You're not independent, you're capable. You are a capable woman. You're not an independent woman. It is a difference. And I really need you guys to learn that. You are not
What is the point?
independent. You are capable. Please stop speaking when I'm speaking.
Oh, because you're going around. You're
Please
going
stop
around the
speaking.
question. You had a
Please stop
question. Get to
speaking.
the question.
Please
Get
stop
to the
being
question.
disrespectful because if I start
No,
disrespecting
get
that,
to
it will
the
be very
question. Get to the
unbecoming
question.
of me.
Get to
Stop
the question.
speaking.
Because you're
Stop
still
speaking.
talking and you're
Because
answering
no,
nothing.
because
You
you're a
answering
covert
nothing.
feminist. That's what you are.
This
You
ain't
live in
about
a
that.
house.
This is
You
about
live
the
in a
fact
house
that
with a
instead of
man,
looking at
and
the
then you want to
actual
come up here and
issues,
say, "Oh,
you're going to look at
you're
the
so
issues.
independent. You're
Let's
so."
focus.
What
If
level
you
of
want to talk
independent
about
are
Interesting.
you? You
accountability,
see how
let's look at the
disrespectful
actual
she's being,
issues.
and if I really disrespect her ass now, then I'll be
If
wrong,
you
right?
want to talk about
Right.
Moderator,
accountability,
get a
let's
hold of it.
actually look
Don't
Get a
at the
hold of
Right?
it.
issues.
That would be very unbecoming of me,
One
right?
of the things that I've been noticing
No,
is
you
that
are
you
a
will place
covert
the blame
feminist
one
and you are
side.
trying to lead
Moderate.
other women astray. You are a covert feminist and you're leading other women astray. You live in a house with a man, you have children. How independent can you be, ma'am? You are not independent. And if you are, then you're
Who
totally
said
disrespecting
anything
your
about
husband.
that? Who said
Oh my
anything about
goodness.
that?
You see, you talk so much that you can't even hear your own self. Okay,
Sweetie,
and that's a problem.
I think
You
that you're
talk
just
so much that
angry
you can't even
because
hear your own
you
self.
want
You
to
got up here and say you're
assert
independent. Okay,
Get a
my
hold
sister
of it,
You're
asked
brother
going
you.
Randall.
somewhere,
My one
and you
second,
don't need to
Marcus.
do
My
that.
sister
Just
asked you, "Do you pay taxes?" Because you were talking about, "I don't listen to no man. I don't listen to the white man. I do this.
no, I
I'm
don't.
independent. I'm blah blah blah
The
blah blah blah
point
blah
that was
blah blah."
being made
You a
when
covert
Marcus came into
feminist.
the video.
You. I'm gonna just shut up so that you can keep talking. I'm gonna
When
shut up so you
Marcus
can keep.
No,
That's
when
all you're good
Marcus
at doing
came
is
into the
talking. Go
video,
on,
the point that
talk,
he was trying
talk.
to make was that
Get a
you
That
hold
you're a
of it,
covert
talk
Randall.
feminist.
and you
That you're a
listen
covert
to.
feminist.
yeah, can I say something?
That you are a covert
Go ahead,
feminist.
Khalid.
Yeah, okay. I just want to, kind of, put a track on a positive note.
Thank you.
Just, and I appreciate everybody here. You feel me, host, and everybody else. You feel me?
And furthermore, it's 2 o'clock in the bloody morning. You're married. What the fuck are you doing on the internet?
Who me?
Get your ass in your bed.
First
Who
of
me?
all,
Oh,
this
The
is
hold
hell?
on. Listen,
instead of trying to find a
calm down.
Fucking
solution
married
to
at
the
2 o'clock in the
issue,
morning.
I'm trying to.
you're
Where's your
talking
husband?
all this
Let me.
mess.
Let
2 o'clock
Are
in the
you
morning.
married?
Seriously.
Are you
Hold on. Hold
You
on,
married?
shouldn't even
Let me
you
ask you
ladies.
a
shouldn't even
question.
be in this
Because you talking
conversation,
about
really, unless you're
marriage,
trying
and
to
you
Ladies.
fix
probably
it.
ain't even
Yes, I'm
married. You
talking
over there
about
talking all
you.
kind of shit. You probably ain't even
Ladies.
married.
Yes,
Ladies.
I'm
Please.
Are
Please.
talking
you
about
married?
you.
Are you
I'm
married?
talking
This is
about
what
you.
we're not
If
Status,
gonna
are you
do.
if
We're
married?
not
if
gonna
I
do
was, I
this.
would not be
We're
on the
not
internet
doing
at two
this.
o'clock in the
We're
morning.
not
Yeah,
doing
Ladies.
that
this.
you
Ladies.
talking all kind of stuff about
And
Ladies,
if I
somebody
Ladies.
who
Hold on.
was,
Hold on.
left
I
it
Hold
would
on.
not be on the
alone.
internet at two o'clock in the morning.
this is
And I
what they
sure
want
Sorry.
us
would
to
not be coming up
do.
here talking about I
And
don't
this
need a
is what
man
you're
and I'm
gonna do now.
independent
Yeah.
because
Hold
I
up.
need a man.
You're running
No
your
matter how
mouth
much
and you
money
don't
I'm
need to get
making, I need a
married.
man.
And I looked at
No
your
matter how much
profile.
money
It's
I'm making,
horrible. Your
I need a
profile
man.
pictures are
I need
horrible.
a
This
man.
shit
Your
No
got
matter how
wild,
much
profile
bro.
money I'm
You
pictures
making.
don't
are
need for
Can I
horrible.
say
No
something,
matter
Your
please,
how much
ladies?
money
profile
Ladies.
I'm
picture
making, I
screaming,
need
I'm
a
Oh, so
working
just
man.
mute
hard.
everybody.
Your
Ladies.
profile
Hold up,
pictures
please,
are
please, please.
screaming, I need to go
Yeah.
to the hair
So who you
salon.
talking to
Your
you today?
profile picture is
No
screaming,
matter
I
how
need a
much money I'm
gym.
making, I need
Your
a
Let me
man.
say
profile
something, please.
screaming, I need to go to the gym. Your
And we wonder
profile
why.
pictures
Hold
are
up,
We
screaming
please.
wonder
high blood
why. We
pressure.
wonder why
Your
shit is
profile
like this.
picture is screaming high blood pressure.
He's
Can we
talking to
not
you
do
who
this?
All right.
lives
Hold on. Hold on. Hold
in
on.
reality.
Yeah.
We're talking
I,
about something that you have
Your
no knowledge of.
profile picture is screaming high
yeah. Hold
cholesterol.
on.
Your
You're
profile
talking
picture
about
is
something
Universe.
that
screaming,
you
Universe.
have
I
Universe.
no
need to
Universe.
knowledge of.
Universe.
go
Universe.
to
Ladies, do
the
you
Universe.
see how they
gym.
looking at us? All the black men that's in
Okay,
this
who
chat
cares?
right
Universe.
now,
That's
how they
that's
Universe.
looking
it.
at us?
Yeah. Hold
How
on.
You
we
Hold
see
on.
how
how
the
we
white
can't
They're
even
community look
understand
at
understanding.
each
y'all? They
other.
look at y'all as a
Sisters.
Ain't
racist.
no
Yeah.
way
That's what
she
they
Sisters.
gonna
look at
come up
y'all
here and
as,
say she has a man
racist.
in her house and
So
say she
let's
she
Sisters.
stop
need man.
doing this
What are you
because
guys talking
every
about?
black man
How
on
can you
this
not need
chat
a
Yeah,
right
man?
now is
whatever.
looking at
How
us
can
like we
you not
can't
need a
speak to
man?
each other.
How can you
Her
have a man
profile
living in your
picture
house
is
and don't need a
screaming.
Who
man?
said that?
Hold up.
Nobody
Tiffany,
Hold up.
said
you
that.
Hold
And
up.
no one says
Yo.
you look
anything.
like a bowl of
Host.
chitlins.
Why are we
Who
being
said
mean
You
and
that?
Yo.
look
talking to
like
each
Host.
pig
other?
feet and
You're
hog
married. You
maw.
shouldn't even be
You
here.
look
You
All
are
like
a
these
Who
you
black
need
married
said
men are
that?
woman.
cursing at
a
each other
bowl
right
of pork
now.
Who
You are a
said
juice.
married
that?
woman.
Like,
Go in your
you
bed
have
with your
no
man.
point
Yeah.
to make, which is
Go
why you want
in,
to throw out
go
all
and
of this
open up your
Hey,
mouth to your
when is
man in
somebody
the
gonna
bedroom.
bring the
Hold up.
Dover
Hold up.
room?
Hold up. Hold up.
When is somebody
Yeah.
gonna
Go,
Ladies.
be the
Ladies.
damn
Ladies.
Dover
go
room?
Yeah.
and
You
Hold
you
up.
have
Hold
have
up.
no
Hold
no
up. Hold up.
your
points to
mouth
make,
with
Earth.
your
which
Earth.
is why
man.
you want to say all this stuff
No,
that
Go
you
you
make
keep
When
your
is
quiet. Go
somebody
with your
chitlins.
gonna be
man.
the
Go
damn
clean your
not
Italian?
even married.
chitlins.
Earth. Quayla
You're not even
Go
Universe.
married, and
cheat.
you
Go
have no
clean your
clue
Earth.
how
Quayla
to
chitlins.
keep a man
Universe.
and
Go
how to
keep
stay
Go
those
married.
chitlins
utilize
on
your
the
So
man
you
with
pot.
your
want to
man.
talk
You're a married
about why
woman. You
people are
are a
not
married
married?
woman.
Her
Tell.
man is
You are a
out with
married
another
woman.
man.
No,
Her
my
man is
You
out
husband
with
are a
is
another
not
married
here,
man.
woman. Know
baby.
your
I'm
place. Know
actually at
your
my
Earth.
office
Quayla
right
place.
now.
Universe.
You're a
She's a
married
I'm at my
lavender.
woman.
They
office
have a
right now.
lavender marriage. They have a
Earth.
What
Sir.
lavender
reality is
marriage.
this?
He's messing with another
My
Hey,
man. He
listen,
don't
babe.
husband.
You
want
can say what you want.
he
That
don't
ain't
want
fucking
piggity
true.
No, I'm
wiggity.
trying to say something, but
You are
I know
not
you got
even
some going
able
on.
to look at
He
the actual
don't
issue.
want
Oh
Miss
my
Piggy.
God,
No,
Jesus, help
no, hold
me.
on, hold on, hold on, hold
You're
on.
not
Listen,
even
listen,
able to look at the actual issue.
Okay,
God, if you're
chitlins.
not
Instead of
busy,
Hey,
pass
instead
it
of
to
nigga.
me right
no,
now.
Hey,
don't do
nigga.
that, don't do that, don't do
Hey,
that, don't do
we
that.
talked about
I am done
accountability,
with
Listen,
you.
listen.
you
handle
talked
that.
about
Ain't
independence,
nothing
which
wrong,
nobody
Handle this.
ain't nothing
I'm
wrong with
done with you.
having
instead of
disagreements.
looking
No,
at
hold
the
on,
Handle
actual
listen,
She
this, bro.
keep
issue,
running off her
you're
mouth. We
calling
both
out
muted, and
listen,
everything
she
hold
kept
on.
else.
running off in her mouth, and now she gets what
Wait,
she
Instead of
deserved.
calling out the
okay,
actual
okay,
No,
issue,
you
so
need to just
yeah,
go
yeah,
in
I'm
your
I'm I'm
yeah.
gonna
place
mute
and be
one
a
more
wife.
time, and
That's
guess what
it.
she's gonna do? Run her
Why is
mouth.
it
I'm gonna
not
mute
why
one more
you're
acceptable?
not
time.
even
Why,
hearing
And she,
why is
me.
it not
You
acceptable for
came in here
everyone to have
talking
their
about
own different
nothing.
points of view?
Yeah,
Everyone is
ladies,
from different
can I
parts of the
say
earth,
something? Ain't
different
nothing wrong with
cities,
that.
different
Everybody have
places.
disagreements.
Stop
We ain't
arguing
all
and fighting with each
yeah.
other. Everyone has their
Yeah,
own points
we
of
ain't
view.
all gonna agree, right?
Hey, big.
But hold up. Yeah, but the
Let. All right. Let
He
me
can
talk.
hear y'all. He ain't
the
deaf. He
beauty. Yeah,
can
hold
hear
up. Yeah,
y'all. He see what's happening. He's
yeah.
not deaf, nor is he stupid. Y'all don't need to keep calling him. He can see. He can
All right, knock
see.
it off.
Earth.
Knock it
Women
off.
get up here and do this shit all the time. You
Knock,
call women
knock
damn
it.
Earth.
Knock
feminists.
it off.
The
Knock it
reality
off.
is you're
Sick
not
of
even
it.
married and
Hold
you're
up.
talking
Come
shit
on,
about
y'all.
marriage.
And if I
Ladies,
was
Knock
but
it
you're
married,
off.
you know
not
what I would be
married. You're in
doing.
the
If I was
lavender
You
married,
don't
you
bed.
know
know
what
how
I'd
to
be
be
You're
married.
a
doing.
cover
You
up.
don't
You're a
know how to
cover
be
up.
If I
married.
was
Guess
married, you
what?
know
You're
what I'd be
not
You
married.
doing.
don't
You're a
know how to
cover
be
up.
married.
If
So
I was
you
You're a
are
married, you know
lavender
what
telling
I'd
Hey,
be
marriage.
Dominic,
Your
doing.
hey,
man
why
chose
they
to
not
be
married
let
on
it
and
the
you're
go,
not
bad
bro.
married.
side.
listen,
He
You got
hold
knew
on.
that he
like
wanted
you're not
to.
even married and
Let it go.
you don't know how to be
All right.
married.
Your
You
man
don't
wanted
know nothing
mud.
about marriage.
Your man
You
wanted
don't know
mud
nothing
And
over
you
about
do.
marriage,
you.
which is why y'all
He
can sit
wanted
on
And
here
you
mud
do.
instead of
and,
Yes.
ice
and talk all
cream.
kind of crazy stuff.
Your
But
Yeah,
y'all
And
don't
you
man
know
man.
nothing
wanted
do.
about
mud
marriage, and that's
instead
the
of
Yo,
thing.
ice
host,
cream.
play.
Marriage
Your
is
man
about
wanted
marriage.
mud instead of ice
Come
I've
on,
been
cream.
brother.
married
Hey,
for
hey,
20
hey,
years.
you know.
It's about
Your
marriage.
man
There are
wanted
many, many
mud instead
examples.
of ice cream. Your
There's
man
many,
wanted
many
mud instead
examples.
of ice cream. You are a lavender marriage. You are a cover
And
up.
instead of getting to the point,
Go
you want to
fix
try
those
to offend me, but
chitlins
I'm not
in the
What
offended, baby.
point?
mornings. Go
What
fix
Let's
your
just get
point?
pig
to the
feet
point,
in the
honey.
morning. Go
Let's
What
get
fix
to the
your
point?
actual point.
fat
Let's
back
talk
in the
about the real
morning.
deal.
What
The
point?
question is, why is
Your
marriage on
man wanted
decline?
mud.
The question is not
Your
nothing
We
man
about
said
what the
wanted
because
question is
mud
talking about.
because of
over ice
women like
cream.
you, because of
Because
the
of women like
covert
me
Your
getting
man
feminists
fucking
like
wanted
you,
married.
mud over
I've been
ice
married for
cream.
20
because of the
years.
covert
My
You are
feminists
husband's
a
like you.
happy,
porta
honey.
potty. You
That's
are
the
a porta
thing.
potty.
You
You
aren't
are a
even
porta
married,
potty.
and you have
You
the
are a
nerve to
porta
come on here
potty.
talking
Repeat after
about
me. I am a
any of this
You
porta
stuff.
know,
potty.
Marcus and
I am
Stack.
a
Me?
porta potty.
This
What do
is
you
no
actually
reason
mean,
to
sis?
You
to
are
have
a porta
multiple
You
potty.
wives.
can't even come
You
up
You
are
with
know
a
what,
queen
reason.
of
bro?
feces.
I've been, I've been
Nah,
going, I've been
You
going
are queen
almost
of
10,
feces.
like the LA riots,
You
man.
are
Hold this
queen
shit
of
down.
feces.
you hear
Let's
me?
I'm
talk.
gonna hold that
Instead
shit
of talking
down.
about the issue, you want to talk about everything
Girl,
else.
stop
You want to go
talking.
around the circle.
First of
The
all,
LA
stop
riots,
You
That was
talking.
hear me?
that's
I'm
what you
trying to
got
Fella,
call
going
stop
on.
you know,
motherfuckers
LA
name.
talking.
riots.
You're supposed to be the more. You're supposed to be the main person in this group right now with the most experience being married, right? You should be doing this.
Girl, let me
Who,
tell you
who?
something.
Now I'm not coming
Never
for
am I
you.
going
I'm
to
not.
let somebody
Wait.
Listen,
I'm not coming
don't
for
do that,
you.
ladies, ladies,
I get
ladies,
I'm
it,
ladies.
but
not
never
coming
am I
for
going to let
you.
somebody
I'm not
disrespect me, and
coming
that's the
for
problem.
No,
you.
The problem is she's
okay.
been
But
disrespectful since the
I
beginning of this
understand. I
conversation. She
understand. I
disrespected Khalid at the
understand.
beginning. She
Listen,
disrespected
and you're still
Marcus.
going,
She
right? You're
disrespected
still
the other
going,
Hold on,
right?
hold
lady.
on.
Listen,
It's
listen,
like,
calm
no,
down.
Kayla, please,
Just
I
ladies.
stop.
can hear you.
It's
Just
okay.
Listen.
listen.
Okay,
It's
wait,
all good.
Kylie, I want you to go, right? But from woman to woman, black woman, right? I understand that your frustrations, right? But you need to also understand the power in listening and understanding in order to respond and not react. You're doing a lot of
No,
reacting.
absolutely,
And
yeah.
it's hard for people to hear your truth whenever you're reacting, right? That's for every woman up here
Yeah,
reacting.
and that's what I was trying to get to, right? Just kind of throw it
You
out there.
have to
Now we're trying to
control
put on a
that. So you
positive, and
can't
and
run with the marriage thing and you're not able to even speak to your other, black, a lot of people don't like sis, but your black sisters,
you know,
your black, people, and you can't even do that for your peers.
right, and absolutely, and that's what I was trying to say. You feel me? We have to understand the difference between those who come from speaking out of passion, those who are speaking out of experience, those who are coming from emotions, right? Those who just coming from just out here just being negative, right? So there's a difference, right? And I agree with everybody in here. Everybody comes from having knowledge and having experience. Those who have a different lifestyle, the way they grew up. Those who had two parents. Had a good household. Those who came from the struggle. Didn't understand. Certain men or certain women didn't grow up to be learn to be a good person, a good man or a woman. You feel me? Like, so everybody's coming with their own opinions or perspective in a sense, right? Now the question is at the end of the day, like, I heard everybody what everybody said, and I took a lot of the truth out of that, right? I didn't look into the negativity. Of course I disagree. I know people disagree with me too. Earth said everything that she said. She come from a different perspective, living in coming from Jamaica, living in London, coming to the United States. So she has different perspectives, right? Deuce, wherever you from, you grew up a different certain lifestyle, depending on what type. I don't know if you was raised by two-parent household, the struggles that you went through, how men treated you. Quayla saying that you was married, going through a certain. Everybody has their own opinion, but it does not mean that such and such is right or I'm right, anything like that. But it's the whole conversation is about learning and how we feel about it, right? Of course, we're going to disagree, right? It's just taking everybody in, and if keep it on a positive note. Like I say, coming from passion, coming from experience, coming from emotions, coming from culture or whatever it may be. You feel me? And none of y'all ain't wrong. Everybody coming from a different standpoint, right? Others value money. Others value cultural and logical traditions and stuff. You feel me? Others value, you feel me, coming from a struggle and like, what, hey, I've been cheated on by somebody, so I can't trust a woman or a man and such. You feel me? But we all learning from each other, right? So let's just say, like, somebody was speaking on how a certain woman or a man treated them, right? And now I'm learning about the signs. Okay, I gotta watch out for a materialistic woman. You feel me? If she want to do this, you feel me? She always gonna depend on me spending money on her. You feel me? And things like that nature. You feel me? So it's love that y'all going back and forth, But it gets bad when it gets more personal and coming at each other. And y'all sisters, man, from different backgrounds, different lives, all that. You feel me? And it's amazing. And the crazy, one thing I love about it too, is the fact that it's not the fellas that's going back and forth, but it's the sisters that have a disagreement. Because majority of the time, what I see is when a woman says, "Oh, I'm independent," everyone be like, "Oh yeah, we independent." They all agree with each other. You feel me? They all say, "Oh, we don't need no man." But all y'all have a different point of view, and I love that because it tells where your mindset is at. You feel me?
I appreciate you saying that. I really think that that's necessary to kind of break up the energy there. However, I'd
I
like to
think
point
it's
out,
pandering to y'all.
when I'm having a conversation or when I was speaking, if somebody's literally coming at me in a disrespectful manner, ain't nothing in nobody else's world. I don't care what world we in. That doesn't make it okay for you to do that. And I'm the only person that's gonna stand up and advocate for myself. So that's just period.
Yes, but you're responsible for your
Yes.
reaction, and that's what you're going to be judged on.
I understand that, dude.
And
But
that should be a
you
period
wanted to come in
thing.
here and you want to police
You're going to
me,
be
but you don't want to
you're
police.
being judged how you react, not what someone's saying to you.
Dude,
How you react
you
on
also just
everything
talked about
with that
interjecting,
attitude is
right?
what we're saying. That's emotional intelligence.
That's great, but did you not just talk about interjecting, and did you not just interject me? See what I'm saying? So,
Yes, I did, and I
first
apologize,
off,
and I'm going to
let me just go
apologize,
ahead
and
and
that's
say
me being
I
accountable,
appreciate
apologizing
your.
to you. But
First
I
of all, I
want
just
to
want
get
to
that
say,
key into
first,
you.
That
So I
I
don't want you to carry
I
on
love
that
that. See, I
thinking.
love what y'all did right there. Y'all coming to understand it.
first of all, I
I
want to
love
say
it.
that I
That's
appreciate what
dope.
you
That's
said,
dope.
because I understand what you're saying. I appreciate that very much because it's necessary. However, it's always very convenient to call out and to try to check the most logical person. Because meanwhile, this person has disrespected multiple people on this call.
I'm gonna ask you a question.
Wait,
Have you
Marcus.
ever?
I'm sorry, Marcus. Yes, people disrespect you, but it goes back to still what I said.
I'm
And
not
even
talking about me.
no, you are
She's
talking
talking
about
about
No,
me,
I'm
Deuce.
talking
No,
about
Deuce, she's
disrespecting
talking about
multiple
no,
me.
I
people.
know what she's
Deuce,
talking
she's
about.
talking about me,
I know what
Deuce.
she's talking about. That's fine, right? But no
Who have I
matter how
disrespected
if
besides
you're
you?
Disrespected multiple
but
people.
But
Who have
wait,
I
right?
disrespected besides you?
Wait. Don't wait. The thing is,
please, yes,
if you're
sorry,
feeling
just come to
disrespected,
understanding. Come to
if you're
understanding.
feeling disrespected, their emotional intelligence in you is to decide if I'm going to respond disrespectfully back or am I going to leave this group. You don't have to stay here and be disrespectful to tarnish who you
Girl,
are.
but
You don't
when
have to
did you
do
ever
that or
be
stand up to yourself
disrespectful?
to a point that's going to make you look crazy because you have
Right,
to be able
right,
to control how you react.
right. But when did I
Why
That's the
your friend
important
can't
disrespect
even
thing.
tell
So
you
what
nothing?
you're doing right
She's saying
now is
some
making
real
did I
stuff to
call
you,
excuses.
and you're
her
not
out
even
of her
You're
name?
processing it.
making excuses for how you
Please hear me,
respond, how
but
you
Oh my God, you
react.
trying
hear
to
what I'm about
attack
to
your
say.
own friend? She's trying to
Hear what
help
I'm
you
about to
out.
say,
Are you
Deuce.
not
Hear what I'm about to
listening?
say, Deuce. Hear what I'm about to say real quick.
It's
Did
not.
I say
I'm not
anything? Did I
trying
Jesus
to
say anything
speak. I'm
rude to
not
Christ.
her?
trying to speak for you. I'm
Did I
trying to
say
Oh,
let
did
you
I say anything rude to
understand.
her though, Deuce? Real quick. Let me ask you a question. Did I say
my
anything rude
God.
to her? Did I tell her that she was coming in here talking nonsense and bullshit? Did I disrespect her opinion? No, I did
That's
not.
I'm. I'm not speaking about what was done
Yeah,
to
but you're
you.
not talking about what's necessary to see that.
What's
I did
Oh
not,
my
necessary?
Lord.
I did
What's
not
what I'm
disrespect
speaking
her
about? What's
opinion.
necessary? Is
Mm.
what protects
That,
you, though. What
right, but
protects
this is the
you? Because
thing.
you
This
can't
is a
control what people
conversation.
do and what people say to you.
Correct.
How
Correct.
you look in the experience that you're coming
Correct.
from, you have to follow
That's
in
under the
that.
assumption that I care.
Yes, but
That's under
passion,
the assumption
intention.
that I care.
Listen. I have to learn that being passionate enough can be seen as disrespect. Okay,
Honey, listen.
just because I have a point doesn't
I
mean that it's
appreciate it.
understood either.
I appreciate that.
Or,
But
or,
also,
or a truth in the
need
sense. Yeah. So
to
like yeah.
need
Yeah.
to
Sorry.
place
So yeah.
just
To
as
what you were
much of
saying.
your
Pretty much.
targeting in
Yeah.
another direction as well. I
Right.
think that
Okay. So yeah. So
you wanna police me because I got common sense. You wanna police
Who
me
else did
because
I
I'm
who
black.
else did I disrespect? I
Because I'm
haven't
hold
disrespected
on.
anybody else. Don't lie on me. I don't like for a person to lie on
Sweetie,
me.
when I first come into this
I
call, you were
stand
yelling at Khalid
honey,
about
not
being in the bank.
listen. I was
No.
not
Hold
disrespecting
on.
Yes,
Khalid.
she was.
That I
No.
But
was
who
not
are you to
disrespecting
say?
him.
No. No. I feel no.
I
Hold
was not
on.
Take up
disrespecting
for him?
him.
He's a
Yes,
man.
she
He can
was.
speak up
I
for
was not
himself. So every time
disrespecting
you
him.
come for her,
I'm
I
very
No.
promise you, I'm gonna
direct.
come
Again,
for
I'm
you.
very
I didn't take no
Every
direct.
time you
disrespect from
come for her, I'm
anybody.
gonna
I'm
come for
very
you.
direct.
Every time.
I don't
Yeah.
do too much of the sugarcoating. All of you guys already have
No.
diabetes and
Don't
cavities
do that.
already. Khalid, be quiet for a second, please. So
I'm
you
saying
already
yeah.
have diabetes and freaking cavities. I don't need to be adding sugars and sprinkles on top for nobody. So I'm very direct in my approach. However, direct does not equal to disrespect. Okay? Maybe you like to be a little bit more coddled. I'm sorry. I only
No.
have
Don't
that
do
for
that.
little
Don't do that.
children.
Don't do that.
See
Khalid,
No.
what I'm saying?
please.
See what
Khalid,
I'm saying?
I'm
please.
saying
Khalid,
See what I'm
please.
you saying
saying?
in a better
See
Khalid,
what I'm
way.
Now
please.
saying?
I
Khalid, please.
disrespected you because
Khalid,
you
I'm
was
not having
please.
a
disrespectful.
normal
All right,
conversation
And
baby.
I
with
still feel
you.
Khalid,
like
do
you're in
not
a
police
lavender
me. Do
marriage.
not
You
police
in a
me.
lavender
I'm
marriage.
not. I'm
Do
not.
not
I
Go
do.
police
ahead.
me.
Unapologetic. You in a
Right.
definition
Yeah,
of marriage.
Okay.
They don't like direct. American women don't
They don't.
like
I don't have a
American
And
people
but
don't
but
like
no no
direct
no
shit.
no. What
They
Khalid
don't.
wanna
That was
Khalid
not my
wanna jump
issue.
off mute to act like he's Captain Save or somebody around here. But
That was never my issue, though.
what he's not
That was
doing
never
is,
my
first of
issue.
all, she's very out of order. Okay, let's understand that. She
No,
came up
I'm
here on
not.
this panel. You don't know how to be quiet, ma'am. You do not know
Neither
how
do
to be
you.
quiet.
Neither do
You
you.
because
You
you
came
came
up here
okay.
trying to
You don't
save
know
a
how to be
man
quiet,
for
none at
no
all.
reason. You don't even
Let me
know.
It's
We've
it's
been
it's
up here for
very
okay.
it's
hours. We've
I
very
been up
want
here
I
for
do I
unrespectful.
hours.
listen ladies, I
It's
want to say some
insufferable.
let
It's
me say something.
insufferable.
What the when we speak about black community Americans specifically how hard you can't hear me. A lot of the times when women, because I'm a woman, I can't speak for men, right? Women can't accept any sort of anything is because of how it comes at them. That's a trauma response. So even with the intent, it goes both ways. How I'm trying to help her, it goes both ways from a woman's perspective coming to her, or even from a man. If I'm yelling and screaming, cutting them off and cursing you out, saying your back is big, that automatically is going to bring up a trauma response. So even
Well,
though
sis, that's not a trauma response. That is direct
Why you
disrespect.
even say?
you
Why
know,
you
yo,
even
I can
say?
That is
understand. I can
disrespect.
100%. You're right. It is direct
So why do you?
disrespect. You're
I'm
right.
finna X that
You're right.
person.
It
Deuce,
is
good thing you look
disrespectful.
good,
There's
Deuce.
valid points being
Deuce,
made,
you
but I
too
think it's
bad that you took care of
disrespectful. Like,
yourself, Deuce, and you actually pretty. But she's been an
it is
evil
what it is.
person. She's
Like,
been a mean
I'm not
girl.
bothering
I
or
She's
upset.
been a
I'm
understand,
mean
literally
girl.
but the
having a
same thing I'm
Deuce,
It's
saying for
giving it's
her,
giving precious and misery.
I
It's giving
understand.
Rasputia. It's giving
But
Rasputia.
listen,
It's giving misery.
but all those things that you see, all those things that you're saying, right? That you see as a black woman, you have to see past that shit. That shit is very, very surface level. Because you know she's coming from a damn place that's not that, right?
yeah,
So we
I
have still
know
have to
that.
protect that on this panel to protect
Right.
that. Don't
Right.
attack each
But
other,
the
and that's gonna make
reality
her
So
feel
is,
you
that way
protecting
too.
black women or
this is one of
you
my problems
protecting
as a
African
community is that we
American?
let people
Is it
attack
black
us,
or is it
and then we
African
don't do
American?
nothing
I can
about it.
say
That's
it
in
is black
current.
women, but I
because
don't
we're
know
all
where
black.
everyone
What are
is
you talking
from.
about? We're all
I don't.
black.
We're all right. It is about black women,
There's
but
no
I
white
don't
person on
know.
this panel. We're all black. What are you talking
Yes,
about?
Black American people. Obviously, we spoke about that earlier. Have different culturally wise, but I don't know where everyone's from. So black women, yes, but everybody has different cultures of where they are, how they handle things.
Ultimately, I think that the conversation just veered off left. But ultimately, we were not talking about the cause. The original question was, why are marriages declining? And the question's still not being answered.
We already answered it. I think
You
like
answered it.
for real. I'm gonna answer this real quick, man. And I'm gonna simplify this shit. It's the men. The men.
He was out of order.
Don't worry.
No,
I don't
it's
know
the
what you're saying,
women.
brother.
It's the women.
I
It's the
think it's
women
both.
that's putting men on child
It's
support.
both.
I will
It's the
disagree.
women putting it was
I
women putting
disagree.
men on child support.
Well,
I
that's
don't agree with
I
putting
didn't
men on
keep the
child
car
support,
went out. I
especially if
didn't
they're
hear the
taking
child
care of their
support.
children. But I think it's both. I think it's both. I think
Yeah,
both
because
need
you know they
love.
take care of their children and they put them on child support. Some of them girls just want to check and they don't even spend a check on their children.
I get it.
We're
That's
not
terrible.
talking about the responsible ones. We're talking about the irresponsible ones.
That's terrible. That's terrible. I think that putting black men who are responsible for their children should not be put on child support because the reality is it just puts them back into the system. It causes them financial issues where they can't actually get to a point where they can grow themselves financially to take care of their whole family, because ultimately that's really what we want as a society, but it's just not happening because of so many reasons, including child support.
Hello, everybody.
So y'all don't feel like women that go down there and get the EBT and the Section 8 that can be working, y'all don't feel like that's a problem?
I think it's based on it's situational. It's all situational and circumstantial. Like all of this, these are some of these things that we're talking about are systemic issues.
Everybody that gets an EBT that can work should be going to fucking.
Systemic issues.
Everybody that gets an EBT that can work should be going to fucking work.
Teas though. So why do they get the benefits and they sell the benefits on the streets? They sell their food vouchers, their food stamps.
Hey, Miss Honey.
I mean, I don't know. I would assume it's because they need the money, but I don't know. That's just an assumption. I think that we have, as a whole, we got a lot of things that we got to work on internally, and including being respectful or disrespectful to one another. I think it's all an issue that we all need to look at. It's not just one single thing or one single reason or one single cause or effect. Well, there really was a design on the Black family for real. And so at this point, what we need to be doing is educating each other, respecting each other enough to hear that education that can come through. Okay. Keep continuing to have an understanding. I think empathy is very important as well, because one of the points I was trying to make earlier was just that you can't, it's easy to say, oh, Black women are doing this or doing that, but where's the empathy for those women? There was a time period where there's a whole generation of people who did not have their mothers and their fathers available to them. Their grandmothers were taking care of them because of the drug epidemic. And that's a real thing that happened. So like we're maybe one or two generations later, all of those things still can impact you. And I get that we need to be accountable for ourselves today. Absolutely. But we also have to be understanding that there is a system that has created these issues today.
And yes,
When women run in Lululemon and twerk with their tongues out for
Mhm.
content, running through the malls with butt cheeks exposed, we supposed to uplift these women, and we supposed to say because of their upbringing and the rack epidemic that this is the reason why they're going into nice stores, different aesthetics with cheeks out, tongues out, screaming Lululemon, twerking in stores, and just causing a disruption through the streets. We supposed to blame this on a rack epidemic?
No, that's a part of it, but a lot of that has to do with glorification. If it's not glorified, if you start ignoring these motherfuckers, they're gonna do something different. Period.
I'm saying is when they go into these stores, you talk about YT community, you talk about colonization. When these people go into these stores and act barbaric like that, does it not affect us collectively?
I think it affects the perception of us collectively, and of course, yes, because like you said, not like you said, but like if a younger girl walks into the store and she sees this older woman acting like this, that's showing her that that's how you're supposed to act, or that's what's going to get me attention. So it's the blind leading the blind, as somebody said earlier, which I do agree with. But once again, that's where you have to come in correct and stop glorifying these things.
For sure, cause and effect. It's what you're exposed to. That is a cause and effect out there. You feel me? So it's like if a certain group or certain people are doing the same thing, you feel me? Dress the same, talk the same, walk the same. You feel me? You're blind leading the blind in a sense, right? But at the end of the day, we all have, we all make our own decisions, right?
But do
Yeah.
you not realize that it's women like my brother's significant other, she let her daughter get a tattoo.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, a piercing at
Yeah,
like 16 years old, and she's letting her get her tattoo at 17
yo,
and stuff like that. Do you not realize that women are trying to be more buddy buddy with their children, like tattoos as teenagers, provocative prom clothes? I don't see this turning out good because these girls, they're not looking modest in high school. The prom dresses are very skimpy and seductive and it's like seducing. And
Right.
so men are looking at these children,
Yeah.
and so if a man talk to these children, you looking at him like a predator, but your daughter is looking like a grown woman
Where are the fathers?
at 14.
yeah,
So who's
you pretty
police?
much your
Wait, hold
influence.
on. But who's policing these people? Like the parents are young, the
Right.
kids are younger, and grandma want to still go to the club with
Right.
all of them want to go to the club together. So
See,
nobody's like passing down wisdom or
right.
anything anymore.
Right.
So when you say police or we need to hold our community um
Accountable, yo.
accountable and hold them responsible for certain things. But if you cannot check the mother or the grandmother, who are you checking? Because it's a generational thing at that point.
For sure.
You can't tell these people what to do.
For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, one thing leads to another,
that's why conversations like this are important because you don't always have a person, an elder or someone older than you to pass down that information. It might be your friend to the left or right or cousin or whatever that's talking to you or in age to say, yo, sis, you tripping or do certain things different and accept that information. And it's hard to get that up if you're close enough to do it, but it's not our job. But our goal, which I think this whole conversation is, yes, what we have to do for your own, but realizing how to fix it as a as a village, not just
But
as
Deuce,
individually.
it's
Maybe
not happening. Like in the mental health field, the
You're right, but
kids
we
are
it has to
now,
start.
they're not scared of police officers. They're not scared of teachers. They have no fear. When you and I and everybody on this panel grew up, we had the fear of God. We had the fear of our elders, and we all had respect to hold the door for your elders, give up your seat for their elders. They don't care.
Well,
They don't care.
I think it's important for us to not say things like that's not our job. We have to look at ourselves as a community, if especially if we're calling for the village. If we calling for the village, then the village has to be here. Now I get the conundrum here because we're talking about mothers who don't want to hear none of that, grandmothers who ain't trying to hear none of that, right? But one of the things that we also have to kind of go back and look at is the family structure. If it's led by that man, right? That man leads that household. Them daughters ain't walking outside looking crazy. That man is at that top of that house. So let me tell you something. My dad is not to be played with. Okay. And he calls me, I'm 39 years old. If I get on with it on any type of live or on any type of online internet, a picture where I got too much cleavage, he calling me on the phone like, what are you doing? Like, put some clothes on. Like, I could just have a little extra cleavage going on, and he'd be like, don't do that. Like, put yourself up. So it's necessary to understand that there are structures in place. And so one of the main conversations that we were having, which was about marriage, that is important. How we got here, though, has a lot to do with all of the systemic, the aim at our families. And so now, I mean, it's unfortunate. Some of these people, I don't know. I think we just have to do our best. You raising your children properly, starting there, talking to your nieces, your cousins, your nephews, you know, take them to the side. If you see them doing too much, come here, let me holler at you real quick. Let's go to the store real quick. Let me holler at you. You know, but being involved is necessary.
No, absolutely, absolutely, and it's definitely not easy. There will come a time, where things will be good. You feel me? Not all bad things last forever. We all go through a phase, but at the same time, the beauty behind it is, you feel me? There are those who, we all have a good mindset, and each one of us have a positive influence on our cousins, nieces, daughters, sons, all of that, right? And that same knowledge that's passed down to them, hopefully they're gonna pass it down to pretty much what they say, leading by example. You feel me? And I feel like we're all doing a good job. Those who are in the chat, those who are all talking about it. You feel me? I just want to say, I appreciate all y'all. You feel me? I'm about to head out. It's been a minute. I'm about to just kick back and watch Divorce Court. Oh, man,
Host, I see you, host, I see you made it back to the panel. Now, I was up here earlier and I had told you earlier when we was talking about this topic that I was not a male-centered woman. Now, I reread the question again. It says, why aren't you a pick-me? Well, honey, Miss London have already made it clear that she don't want to be picked. She just want to be left alone. And not with the foolishness and drama. I have to focus on how I'm gonna get this Rolls Royce. Now, see, now I have to focus on how I'm gonna get this Rolls Royce and this new house, honey, that I want.
You something else.
What is a pick me? Same question. D.
That's just something I threw up there to cover up. That was the topic from earlier. Now we talking about what we was talking about.
Oh, Lord, somebody say just selfish. Well done. That's okay, honey. I'm be feeling good, honey, when I'm sitting this tail in that new Rolls Royce and decorating my new house. And walking across the stage again to go get another diploma degree. So
Lady London, I have a question for you.
yes.
All right. What is it that you, because I'm always curious, because I see ladies like yourself, they come into panels where people are discussing relationships to tell everybody they don't want one. What is that about for you?
Well, the question was, why aren't you a pick me? And I told him, because I don't want to be picked.
I understood. I heard that. But I'm saying, So, like, let me give you an example. If I don't care anything about cake decorating. So if somebody held a panel talking about cake decorating, I wouldn't go there to tell everybody I don't care about it.
Well, I gave him my reason for why I didn't want to be picked, and I told him I didn't want to be left alone. Then I told him what I was focusing on. Let me say that I don't want to be bothered with the foolishness, rather. And then I told him what I was focusing on, and he knows me. He know how I am.
Yeah, I understand it. I can see that you have a relationship with the bigger play.
Lady
I
London
always
got a
find it
relationship with
fascinating.
everybody. Lady London.
Yeah, I've always find it fascinating because I'll see women that go on to panels where it's relationship panels and they talking about mate and date and marriage relationship. And they come onto the panel just so they can tell everybody they don't want one. And then, or, you're focused on your own personal accomplishments. That's fine. But it's got nothing to do with anything, you know? So I
Yeah.
just don't understand. And I was hoping you could give me an explanation that would make sense as
Yes,
to why
sir.
people who don't care about relationships go onto relationship panels to tell everybody they don't care about them.
Yes, sir. Well, I just answered his question, which the previous prompt said, "Why aren't you a pick me?" And then I further explained, why I'm not a pick me.
Okay, can I try to reword it maybe? Was there
It
was there
it
was
you
there
you
was there a
you
turning
you would be
point?
wasting time trying to revert it because I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but my statement isn't gonna change.
I understand that, but it's to be logical to know that your thinking wasn't given to you from birth, right? There had to been a point of experience or realization that put you into that frame of thinking, and it definitely wasn't in your, you know, as a child, you know. So that's kind of what he's asking. What was your turning point, or what is it something that you learned or went through that made you into this person of I'm not a pick me or whatever you're running with. You know, what was that did that for you to come in here and say what you're saying to maybe or either glorify people or uplift people in this group or to, give yourself kudos to how far you may have come.
Well, me, I haven't ever been a male centered type of woman. And I was never raised to be that way. And I know the new generation, they got all these words to pick me, skip me. They got a whole bunch of stuff they make up. But when they say pick me, to me, it's just nothing but a male centered woman who pretty much centered her life around having a man and men. Um, and that had never been me. I wasn't raised to be that way. Um, and as far as an experience or something happened to me, as far as the question that he has up, is why is marriage on the decline? I have to say, just from what I've seen and heard from a lot of women, I think that they're getting a different view of marriage, based off of what they're hearing from a lot of other married women. And they're coming out of this fantasy to where they just looking at the wedding and being happy with somebody all the time. Marriage is work. It really is, especially as work on a woman because you
Right.
have to. I haven't been married before, but I know a lot of married couples. I
Yeah.
know a lot, and both of my parents are married, and I
Are,
see
are
the
you
things that they
are
go
you
through.
heterosexual?
And
Do you
I
date
have to
men?
state that marriage is heavy, is work on a woman because you have to
Yeah.
look at it. You have to work as far as constantly keeping your husband satisfied and happy. You have to take care of the kids, see after the kids, make sure everybody in the household is straight. And a lot of times those married women, they don't really have time for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because they're so
Do you
busy
know any
taking care
happily
of
married women,
hubby
or
and
your
kids. Oh yes, I know happily
is
married
your
women.
do you think that the reason you don't want or care about relationships because you are a heterosexual woman, right?
Well, my orientation, is neither here or there.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about relationships, if you're somebody who dates other women, and we're talking about heterosexual relationships, then it's very relevant because I'll see people that will come into panels, and I normally see guys that do this. They'll be LGBTQIA men, and they'll come into panels where heterosexual people are discussing relationships so that they can tell everybody how much they hate men or get on some, band with the feminist women, bitter women, or, men are all abusive, blah, blah, blah type stuff. And I've never understood why people allow folks like that to come into spaces where heterosexual people discuss relationships. Could you imagine a heterosexual man going onto a panel where a whole bunch of fairies is up talking and then talking about how power bottoms just want to use people? And then they say, "Oh, so you in the community?" And they like, "No, no, I'm heterosexual. I don't know anything about these relationships besides what I see. I know gay people who are LGBTQ, but I don't engage in these relationships. But I'm here to tell you about how terrible people are in these relationships." So that's why I asked. But so you're a heterosexual woman, but you don't desire a relationship at all because you watched your mother be unhappy in her marriage.
That is very I did not say that. I'm
So
not
you
sure
watched happy
where you're
relationships,
pulling
so you just
things
decided
from.
that because it sounds
Well,
like the women you're describing in relationships are all unhappy. That's
no,
what it
I'm not
sounded like.
saying that they are unhappy. I said that marriage is work. And I don't think that some people realize that because you have some women, they think about, oh, the wedding and the ring. But a lot of folks don't realize that you have to put in work in the marriage to make it last. And sometimes
What
it
difference
winds
does it
up
make to
being
you?
a lot. It winds up being a lot on the woman because I know a lot of married women. And some of them, really most of them, yes, they are happy, but it doesn't mean that they are not stressed out. It doesn't mean that
So you don't want a relationship, but you come onto relationship panels to talk negatively
listen,
about relationships.
listen,
I
I'm
agree with
talking about
her.
marriage.
She's not talking negatively. Actually, she's just pointing out something that's real. It's a real thing
Yeah,
that
something that's real and also something that's negative. For me, there was nothing positive she had to say about it. I had to ask questions about that. And so I get it. I understand,
I would like to know why
but
you felt that was negative.
I understand. I thought it was negative. So you didn't, and I do. So
No,
that's okay.
I would like to know why you felt that way though.
Because if I told you, when men get married, it's just a whole bunch of them sacrificing and they just have to work very hard and they're very stressed out. That's not describing marriage for men as something positive.
Okay.
So to me right now, right,
Mhm.
you, if you can't see or you don't agree that she was talking negatively about it, that's okay. I experienced it as negative because it was nothing positive, and it
Mhm.
was all things that were stressful and hard and this, that, and the other. And that came right after her explaining that, I just want to focus on me because marriage is hard and this, that, and this. So to me, that just sounds like she's talking about relationships negatively. And I'm going to be very direct. I think it's weird that you have women who worship being single that come onto panels where people talk about relationships to talk about how happy single they are. I think most of the time, women who do this are lonely
Right.
and they're looking for human interaction. And so they come onto panels and talk about how great everything is and tell everybody how much they don't need a relationship, but they come on the relationship panels to do it. And it's weird.
Right. I get
So
that.
I'm just going to
So
be very direct about it.
I
That's what
get
I think is going on. I
yeah.
think it's weird.
Okay.
I make tons of money. I make tons of money. I got a business with over 60 employees, but I don't come on the panels and sit up and tell everybody about my money and about this. It's weird. It's a weird way to try to flex.
Right.
It's all weird.
I mean, I do get that, but you did kind of the question did revert because when she originally got here, there was a different question on the
I
screen.
get you wanting to stick up for it
So,
because y'all both women, but
no,
it's
no, no.
just weird.
I just think it was so. I will say this. I will say from a perspective of a married woman, I understood I understand what both of you guys are saying. Actually, I just want to say that real quick. But the way in which she said what she said it in a very gentle manner. So
I
I
know
would
she
just
had a
say,
very gentle voice, but she still
right.
said something really negative, and that's cool and fine.
I understand.
But we up here and we talking, and because we up here and we talking, I'm not I'm challenging what she's saying, and I'm pointing out the ridiculousness and the hypocrisy of it.
I
Now
got
that's not because I want to fight per se, but I just see a lot of folks do this. I see folks who are LGBTQ come and bash heterosexual relationships. I
you.
see single women who can't get the men they want or don't know how to get along in a relationship come up and talk mess about relationships. I see women who are money hungry and the only thing they focused on is making money coming to these panels. They're lonely and then they come up and they speak negatively about relationships. I see it happen and I think it's weird. If
I
you really
understand.
didn't
I
care,
totally
you
get it.
wouldn't come to relationship panels so you could tell everybody how much you don't care. You would not care somewhere else.
Right. I totally understand what you're saying, and
I think it's weird.
that bothers you, and you're calling it out. So I feel you. I understand. Deuce, I want to say thank you, love, for earlier. You know, I definitely understand where you were trying to go with that, but I definitely want to just circle back to that real quick and just say thank you.
Of course. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I guess I'll say something back to what just happened. I kind of get the both of what is being said right now. I do kind of agree with what he's saying because I think it would have been a lot more productive to come and say, you know, this is the reasoning why. Because I may agree and good for her, for Lady London. I can't say the full thing for Lady, you know, for her point of view and her journey. But no one reaches a journey without experiences. So to try to portray, you know, this is always who I've been, that's not true, especially knowing that she's expressed that, you know, based on what I've seen around me, it's what brought me to be who I am type of thing. So coming in and saying, okay, I'm just worried about the Rolls Royce and the big house and that is negative because it's not about that at all. It's about growth and learning and what brought me to that. And even with that state of mind of thinking in this panel specifically, you know, it's saying that, okay, I've given up on what we're talking about and I'm just going to get the bag. And even if she is a regular, because I don't know if, you know, I'm new here, right? So
Yeah.
regular and seeing the things switch back and forth or whatever, knowing that regardless of what the topic is, and please correct me, host, if I'm wrong, you know, right, it's kind of based off how to fix it and how can we get there, not how to bash it. We're not trying to bash any topic that we're talking about. It's understanding pick me is a freaking pick me is not even a thing. Like this is like a new thing. Like we weren't saying pick me 50, 60 years ago, you know? So that comes from everything and, you know, uh, routines and patterns from things to call a person a pick me. And
Right.
in another group, another panel, what Lady said, she would be an absolute pick me in a different panel, you know, a pick me. That is a pick me thing, depending on what we're talking about. But understanding, you know, what it is that needs to be, you know, looked at and the changes as what we're not learned or not we're brought up as. And just because of I've raised myself to be based off what I've seen or my struggle, I'm a stand there. It doesn't mean that you don't have space to grow. There's still learning that's going to be happening. Everybody. And a lot of times, no one wants to grow because I got myself to this point based off my struggles that I don't need to grow. I want to stay who I want to be, and I'm going to get what I want to get. And that's why people just run the money or run to another country, find another girl, run to another race and find that to treat them to stay in there. That's a trauma thing. Even down to cutting people off is a trauma response, you know? So
I
going
mean,
down
I
to
think we
that.
kind of overused the whole trauma thing. You know, like
That's,
I've
at the end
looked
of the
at
day, it
Amy.
is.
Oh,
At the
go
end of the
ahead.
day, I
I thought you
understand.
were finished. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, but at
It's
the end
no
of the
problem.
day, it is a trauma thing. All of this is trauma.
Okay, I understand. I disagree. I think that people overuse these concepts,
You know
trauma and
what it is,
narcissism.
trauma? And I'm sorry
Okay,
not
go
to
ahead.
interrupt
I'm
you.
sorry.
It
You just
is
said cutting
trauma.
people off was a trauma response, but go
Yes,
right
but
ahead again.
okay, so I will let you know when I'm finished and I will wrap it up. Thank you. I will wrap it up, right? At the end of the day, all of this conversation comes from trauma. All of it. Not being not being raised in a way, and not even if you are being raised in a way, not being taught emotional intelligence from a man's point of view, how to take care of a woman, from a woman's point of view, how to take care. It goes both ways, and teaching each other to do those things. It is trauma. It is trauma from not just for I can speak on what I went through my personal life or what you went through your personal life. what your parents went through, what their parents went through, generationally is trauma. Even down to having a conversation about a pick me, it's coming down trauma. So just because I've healed from something or you've been healed from things does not mean there's not an underlying trauma that we have to do and unrealized unconsciously as in our adult ages to fix those things.
I agree with what he was about to say as it relates to we cannot just take one word and one term and just umbrella everything under it. I think it's just it's a gross misuse
It's
of
crazy.
concepts. It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Everything is trauma. Everybody's a narcissist. It's just like these terms became popular,
Mhm.
and like there's this therapy culture now in our culture specifically, in our community specifically. And you talk to these folks where they're just so fixated on this stuff that a lot of them are really strange. They think every single thing that happens in their life that was hard or that they didn't like or didn't go the way that they wanted is some form of trauma. And I just don't agree with that at all. Like I'm prior service military. Like I've seen trauma. I know what trauma looks like. And trauma is not people disagreeing with you. Trauma is not you not getting the things you wanted while you were little. Trauma is not that your parents didn't pay enough attention to you. It might be a little neglect. It's not trauma. Trauma is like an event that interrupts the normal function of like your brain. Trauma is like an event that interrupts the normal function of your development. Like trauma is like in a disruptive event in your life, like truly disruptive. So I just think it's an overused term, and I think it's part of this, suite within our culture of people, a subset of folks who are hyper focused on therapy culture, and a lot of them, they talk about healing, but the vast majority of them are, you know, I think they're nuts. Not to call you nuts. I don't know you, so I'm not calling you nuts. But I think a lot of folks who are fixated on this stuff are just crazy people.
I'm not
They have a
I
hard
just feel
time
like
getting
it's
I'm
along with
not
a
trying to be
others.
fixated, but I'm also military as well. I do know trauma exactly, and your definition of it is exactly what I'm speaking about. And a lot of us don't realize that even to the point of understanding that we are actually going through those traumatic things that we don't even remember. I'm talking about from birth until a certain age with trauma, with whatever happens in the household or whatever happens around us or to us that has affected our brain that causes things to be a different way. That's why we see people are, they're way grown way before their ages, or men before they even, hit puberty. Those are traumatic responses. So when men grow up and say a man and run with being a man is because they had to be one before they should have been. And
I agree with wisdom. I don't see that as being a traumatic situation. I feel like he's saying that that's a level of neglect.
mhm.
That's a level of
That's,
like
is
neglect.
that
I
not
I,
still
I heard
trauma?
like a traumatic situation today,
Hmm.
and it was gut wrenching.
Hmm.
Like a situation similar to what he's talking about, where a mother was in a domestic violence situation,
Hmm.
and her son tried to help her with her attacker, and told him that he was a hunk B, and the man chased him upstairs and raped him, her
Hmm.
son. That's trauma, because he had to live with that for the rest of his life.
Hmm.
That's trauma. So
But we can't.
you missing a
Hmm.
meal, or
Hmm.
being hungry, or suffering from a little neglect and being essayed, or watching mass unalivings in the military in your face, body parts and limbs,
Hmm.
that's trauma. And for people to like misuse the word, I understand what he's saying. Like it's not everything is not like a traumatic experience. It's like
But
chasing
it's
an
not
ambulance.
talking about a trauma response.
Wouldn't you see that? Wouldn't you see?
Oh my God.
Wouldn't you see that?
Not you, Deuce. I'm
Okay,
listening.
wouldn't you see that as a subjective thing? You know what I'm saying? Because even with that, like, if I miss a meal or neglect, right? There's a very thin line between neglect and at a certain point that is going to be traumatizing. I mean, I'm not talking about every once in a while certain things like, oh my God, I didn't get fed today or I didn't eat today, and trauma. I'm not saying that, but if it's a pattern that's happening, that's what I'm talking about. The patterns that happen it is trauma. You know,
But
I'm
it's
not trying.
almost like it's watered down. Everybody looking for an excuse mechanism. Everybody's trying to play like this
Mhm.
victim role, and it's like no accountability. So I
Yeah.
understand what he's saying, and I
Yeah.
also understand what you're saying. Like
Hmm.
if you miss a meal, too many meals can be, starvation at that point. Or
Hmm.
it's the same thing. If you give a whooping, you might discipline your child, but overly beating them can be abuse. I get it. So we're
Hmm.
not talking about the extremes. We're talking about addressing it. A whooping, like, disciplining your child is not a traumatic thing. But if using drop cords and, making them sit in hot water with salt, that can be traumatic. So we're talking about, he's saying don't ring trauma in the beginning. Call it what it is in the beginning, and then call it trauma when it progressively gets worse or is at its worst.
Do you mean trauma response?
No, no. Well,
I'm just I'll let wisdom talk because
right,
I was
right.
just trying to respond to what he was saying,
Yeah.
but I'll
So
go back on mute.
okay. So what you were saying? Yes, you're right. You're right. But the reason why I might say trauma too is because all of us, I'm assuming, are in our adult ages. So if we're still acting away or having certain patterns or responses to certain things, is that not trauma?
I
Because
think
is there something, if it's something that we should have learned as a child, right? Listen, understand, don't say bad words, or give respect. If we are still in our adult ages and not dealing with those things, that's a problem. I'm not trying to give excuses, but it's something that occurred to you, that affected you. Now I'm gonna go back, right? Everything is subjective, right? And tapping into military, like there's no, you can't, like it, you can't, just because I don't seen a body blown up doesn't mean that is trauma. But if a person never seen a body blown up doesn't mean they're not traumatized by something. And everyone has their own walks of life. When I said before, accountability is not about excuse making. It's not about wearing trauma on your forehead and making excuses to how you react and not having emotional responsibility, but recognize and say, hey, I'm not healed here, or hey, I think this way, or hey, this is why I feel I need to be independent, or why I feel I might need to go to another country to find a wife. This is why. That's what I'm saying.
it
And
sounds like you're referring to trauma response. I just want to clarify. Is that what you're referring
it's
to?
it could okay, coming down to emotional intelligence, your mental health, right? Your responses start, anything you do starts from your brain, from your thinking, from your processing. If you're not intelligent enough to even process what you're given based on what you learned, what you experiences, all your know tos and all the tools that you have, you're gonna either respond in a good way or you're gonna respond in a fucked up way.
Yes. So trauma response.
Yeah, I think that
That's the secondary thing. If I'm not gonna respond, I'm not gonna respond negatively if I don't know how to respond at all. Like, for one, someone can yell at me, and I might be like, and shut up because I'm so scared and not say anything. But someone can yell at me, and I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to? I can just go off.
Yeah, but sometimes what
There's
one of
still
the things,
responses, but it goes back on
yeah,
how I went through and how I choose to
But
respond.
that's a fight or flight response. That's fight or flight
And
response. That's not
that
the
comes from something that affected me or comes from something that affected them, though, right?
but
I
but
just never seen so much culturally sensitive people.
responses.
Like we never had these terms like 10 to 15 years ago to the tenacity that we have them now. It's
But
like it's
responses
almost like when everybody
also
used the
play
race
a role.
card, it kind
One
of
of the
desensitized
Hmm.
everything because everybody's like, "Oh, you're racist. You're treating me this way because I'm black or this because I'm
Hmm.
black." And it just doesn't hold any meaning
You're
anymore
right.
you
like
just
it
said
used
two
to.
I
things.
completely understand, and
So it's just like
y'all are right.
One of the
it's
things that
watered
you said
down is what
was
You're
I'm
right.
trying to
You're
say.
absolutely right. It's never going to be acceptable if I'm saying, okay, I'm acting this way because I want to. But if I have something that's key that I haven't healed from or whatever, then that's what I'm saying trauma. I'm not giving no excuses to nobody on the
but you just said two things,
immaturity.
right? One of the things you said was you have a choice on whether or not you pop back at somebody or you can sit down and be quiet. Both of those can equally be trauma responses, though.
Yes, but that's because I have the emotional intelligence and tapped in to try to heal that part of myself to
Right,
not
but what
get
I'm
back
saying
into that.
is, I understand what wisdom was trying to get at. It's like throwing everything under the umbrella of the term trauma. it doesn't really have you lose the meaning of the term trauma. Now, the reason why I said somebody could decide, oh, I'm going to pop off on the situation. Somebody else, their very same traumatic response would be to go into a silent place, to not respond, to retreat into almost like a childlike state where you become afraid and unable to address someone in conflict. So it's more, I think maybe some of the topics that we were talking about tonight, maturity is probably a better word for some of those things. But because traumatic responses can be both of those ways. It can be somebody getting upset and getting loud, and it can also very much be someone falling back and retreating and not responding, not defending yourself when you should be defending yourself, or not standing up for yourself when you need to.
I have to say, as far as in regard to the question of why marriage is on decline. I know I was stating earlier that a lot of women are kind of looking and viewing marriage in a different way now. You also have a lot of older women that are reaching out and sharing their stories and experiences of marriage. And it's been a lot of older women and married women that have come to me and told me, don't rush it, don't do it. If you're young, be young, have fun, live life. Don't try to get into it too quick. It's always mostly married women that give that advice to younger women from what I see. And letting the younger women know that it's not really what you think it is. Not only is marriage on the decline, a lot of women ain't really having children like that anymore. They're saying that baby mama culture is dying down. Which if you look at our president, he's trying to offer what women $5,000 if they have a baby, just to encourage women to start having more children. So I'm seeing that women are turning away from, and I'm gonna say some of them. I can't say all of them because you do got some sisters that they do want to get married, but some women are turning away from marriage and having kids, and they saying, okay, I just want to be single, childless, unmarried, and focus on whatever makes me happy. And I'm seeing a lot of that more now because they're learning that that's a better benefit, for some people, some of them. So that's kind of, what has all of these things happening right now. Yeah, I see some of
I
that.
think
Yeah, I think
I
that.
find it.
Go ahead, Universe. I'll yield to you. Okay. All right. Well, what I was gonna say is I think that there's been an agenda within the larger narratives in our media to sow dissension and enmity between men and women. I think that they desire to turn men and women against one another. I think there are some women who have bought into that. And I think that's the feminist nonsense. And I think that there are some men who have bought into that. And that's the red pill and MGTOW nonsense. But the truth of the matter is most of us are heterosexual people. We're attracted to the opposite sex. We like being in healthy relationships. Most people want family, they want marriage, they want relationships. The most recent poll done for women showed that 88% of women that are single want to be married, and that was in 2024. The idea that heterosexual women and women are more community creatures than men are want to be alone is untrue. A lot of women, I think, just struggle getting along with other people. They've been taught a lot of ways to function in this world we live in that make them, you know, difficult to deal with. And I also think that a lot of guys, they just they're not very good at dealing with women either. But I think we want each other, for the most part. Now, here's what's going to end up happening. People who like men are going to marry them. Men who like women are going to marry those women. And people are going to continue to reproduce. And all of the folks who are deleting their babies, all of the folks who don't want to get married and establish families, they are a problem that will solve themselves. You got women who are saying they're not going to reproduce. Fine. Your genetic information will be obliterated from the pool of people on the planet, and nobody will remember you existed in another 15, 20 years. That's your business. You know, it's sad, but I don't really care. So, go ahead, be by yourself. You're not hurting anybody. The only person that gets hurt is if you produce children without a father around, or you having babies by a whole bunch of women and you don't want to be a dad. Other than that, if you want to go and be irrelevant and disappear into nothingness, the Savage Garden will swallow your remains and forget your name. That's your business. Good luck with that. I got 3 kids and a wife, so I'm good.
But when you speak about, you know, DNA and your lineage being deleted, we can't, the BLK community can't go back to their great great grandparents to see where they're from. Luckily, my family owns land and we can look at the deeds to land to see who owned things because it's a generational thing. But most BLK people can't identify their great 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 grandparents. And also, when we talking about, you said you had a wife and 3 kids, congratulations. But what's happening out here is that women, um, the BLK culture, the music is a big influence. Women were dogged out initially before the promiscuous culture came to arise as it did now. But the men started off very monstrous towards women. The lyrics back in the day was very graphic, very sexual towards them. And now the roles have reversed. It used to be male rappers, now they're female rappers. And the culture now is just barbaric. It's very low vibrational. People don't, it's very materialistic. And people claim um community and culture. But before you came on the panel, I was just discussing with the ladies on the panel that we spend $18 billion in cosmetics in the BLK culture. We don't have our own banks. We don't have our own community, but yet we want to say community. But every time we get a well-to-do BLK woman or man, it's all about I. It's never other centered. It's never what can I do for the community. And it's good for TikTok to say, oh, I do this for my community. I'm talking about boots on the ground. What are you doing for your community? How are you helping your community? It's always I or my family or my wife or us. It's nothing collective to pull people up. Even we see it in the industry. We see it with all the affluent men, like our athletes, our celebrity stars. They don't give anything back to the community.
That's
We're
not
not helped. And so we envy the YT man, let's just say Trump, that's in office. Okay, what's wrong if he decides to help his people? We had an opportunity with Obama for him to help his people. He could have gave us reparations. He didn't. But I'm not even gonna get on politics. Anyway, what I'm saying is anytime that we have leaders in our community, the Oprahs, the Obamas, the Tyler Perrys, anybody, they're not doing the fundamental work for our community. Our school systems are shot. Our women are more barbaric than ever. There is no modesty. The dress code is very provocative and distasteful. Our men are going overseas getting other women, and then they bring them over here and they speak down on our culture like we're trash. And we have other people, migrants, immigrants, whatever you want to call them. You have BLK people that have drunk the propaganda sauce and want to insert themselves in a freaking riot with Hispanics that somebody else is trying to get out of here that took jobs from them. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make it up. It's all over the place.
I would challenge
So,
you to like look around at your immediate surroundings. I'm not trying to say anything, but when you said that who's out here helping, who's out here doing it, who's boots on the ground, like
hmm
I think a big part of that is who are you around, right? Because who you are surrounded by, you can see a completely different show. Like for instance, what I'm trying to say is, I surround myself around certain types of people, and these are people that are making moves in the community, that are buying properties, that are, helping, getting Section 8 homes so that they can help Black communities. There are people out here doing the work. It's just a matter of, are you surrounded by those people? Is what I would like to ask you.
It's not about who she's surrounded
It's,
by.
yeah, and
It
I
is.
stay in a
But
predominantly YT area if that's what you're talking about, and I see YT people
Mm-hmm.
helping BLK people. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen YT people donate to the hurricane victims in North Carolina, to the fire victims in California. I've seen BLK people come to the YT community for food bank resources and things of that nature. But when I do see is affluent whatever the housewives type of women that y'all love so much, they don't do shit. Forget a vulgarity. They're
Well,
not
I
doing
don't
anything.
follow
I know,
those
but why are
particular
we looking
pages.
for people who are movie stars or people
Right.
who are entertainers to
No, I
do
just
any?
gave
I'll tell
examples
you
of
this.
affluent. I just gave
I
examples of affluent people, but
yeah, I know,
you
but
seem like you
you
pretty
mentioned
well to
Oprah.
do.
yeah,
Yeah, I do well for myself, but you look
Okay,
at
so
Oprah. Well, hold on one moment. The basic build. What's the basic? Let me ask you a question instead. What is the basic building block of a community?
you want the honest question? I mean, the honest answer. The first thing that came to my mind,
Education, business,
it can be
healthcare.
education, but based off universe and what you just said, how you explained it, you said that earlier, but differently just now in a way that I definitely understood it. And what you're saying is, and what this whole thing is about, is fixing the core problem. And wisdom, what they're asking is, what's okay? Where does that come from? Start from? It starts from the foundation, and
What's the foundation?
understanding that foundation is knowing that the problem right now in our community is because, and hopefully you can take this, right, as the only active Black man, right, I think right now, yeah, other than host, that the Black man has to realize, the Black man has to see first all the issues and everything that's going on in with Black men and Black women, and to be able to fix it, to put our
no,
to be able
I say
to.
it's a financial thing because all of our money is not staying within our
Yes,
community.
but every place on this planet is
Okay.
not surrounded around money,
Right.
right? And we're
So
talking about fixing it at the
the
core.
When I
basic
say
building
money,
block,
it's the
the
infrastructure. We
basic
need to
building
have
block
our
of a community is
own
a family.
hospitals.
The basic
And that's
building
what I'm
block of a
saying.
community is a family.
Once
And
we
if you
create that
don't have any
village and be
families,
first, that Black man leads that though, in order to
no,
make.
no, no. I understand what you're saying. I just have a completely different worldview because I've done a ton of research on this.
But you're
So I
saying
just,
families, but some people have families, but their families can be dysfunctional.
yeah,
Yeah, but
So
I
it's not
know, but
about
that's
what
family.
because
It's
you
of,
can
about
say, but you
I
can say, oh,
understand you ladies don't
the basic
agree.
thing. No, it's not
I
that I
understand.
disagree. You trying to make it seem like I disagree. I don't disagree with you.
Well, I was
But what
talking
I'm
to the
saying
other lady.
is,
She said it wasn't
okay.
family. That's why. But I'll
no, I'm
let you
not saying
finish
it's
your
not about
idea really quick.
family. I'm not
I
saying
just,
that.
I understand what you ladies are saying. I do. I just disagree with you. I have a different worldview. I look at other communities. I work with other communities. I've worked in our community. I work in finance. Okay. And so I've done community initiative programs. I've done community equity programs for Black people. I've built entire communities around churches, around mosque here that are in the greater Detroit area. So I've worked in communities. And, I am telling you that it is the opinion of community leaders that the basic building block of a community is a family. And if we could turn off all the racism right now, if all the racism in this country disappeared and white people just love themselves some niggas, because obviously that's what's going to save us. But you and me keep treating each other the same way. Our sons don't see our women as daughters and mothers and wives and sisters. Our women don't see our men as brothers and husbands and sons and fathers. If we keep treating each other the way we treat each other, you could turn off all the racism, nothing would change. You could dump reparations into the community. Nothing would change.
But sir,
Because
you're saying,
at the end of the day, the if the men you ladies complain about are men who are being raised without fathers. They're being raised by themselves. They're being raised by women that, no disrespect to the ladies, don't know anything about manhood, can't teach you how to be a husband, can't teach you how to be a father, can't teach you how to be a man. A lot of the ladies themselves, they've never spent any time as daughters being loved properly by a father. They never watched their mothers be loved properly and be treated as wives. They don't know how to deal with the type of men they need. They don't know how to function inside of families themselves. And so they are having children and doing their own thing. And it's been happening since the 60s.
Is that a
Okay,
choice? Is that not trauma?
but
Isn't
the
that
thing
not
about
trauma?
it, you say family, right? So if family
Yes,
is the
ma'am.
core, if family is the core foundation of everything, what about education? Because you can have families, you can have people in impoverished communities, right? They have like a baby father or whatever the riffraff they got going on. But in their mind, in their cerebral cortex, they feel like their family is stable. We have to address the mental illness in the community first before you say, oh, we just have family. It's families out there. There are
The
families that's
mental
willing to
illness is
go out
coming from
there.
those families.
What do you mean? So where's it coming? Because you're making it seem like
Because if
everybody's
you're
just coming
growing
from a
up,
broken home.
yeah. Look, if you're so the way it's supposed to work is that a man is supposed to establish a family with a woman, okay, and then they have children together because they're both committed to working with each other and nurturing and caring for and providing and protecting for one another and their children. And so, if instead what people do is they have sex because it's fun and it feels good, and then they have babies with women they don't want to marry or by men that don't want to marry them, then those children grow up in a state of lack and they build resentment, and that resentment turns to wrath and they act that out on the world. And that's why 88% of the guys that are rapists come from single mother homes. They're fatherless homes. 80% of the guys in prison, they got something in common: no dads. All of this stuff, drug addicts, alcoholics, don't graduate from high school, violent crime offenders, break into your house, unalive people, get pregnant in high school, get pregnant outside of marriage. All of these things, these people all have one thing in common: 70 to 90% of them grew up with no dad. So the
But
problem the
what I'm
black
asking
community
you
You're making
has,
the
so the
same point.
black the
you
problem the black community
that's what I'm
has
saying, making the
is
same point
that
I'm
we're not
making.
having children inside of stable environments, and then those children grow up and they don't get what they need and they want to eat the world. That's our problem.
I want to say a couple things. I'm gonna get out of here because I have to be. I'm going to breakfast in the morning. Um, there was a young man in the comments that said, "Why look for a wife when everything is sexualized and women have their clothes off all the time?" The thing that gets me is I hear some men make statements like that, and the question that crosses my mind is, why is that the only type of women that you're paying attention to, seeing, and noticing? Like, some men sit up and just act like there are no good women at all out here. They always bring up the Miss Pound Towns and all of these ratchet women. And I have to ask myself, everywhere you're going and everywhere you're looking, the only thing you're noticing is ratchet women and half dressed women. You need to change what you're looking at and change your surroundings, because there are good women out here that keep their clothes on and they carry themselves well. So just when I hear men try to make it just seem like there are no good women out here at all, I know that they are the problem. And some people live their life on social media. And I have to tell them, you got to get out of social media, baby, and get in the real world, because you will see the difference between the two. Um, Also, I want to state this. I find it strange myself for all these people that are always happily married and they always talking about how happy they are, but they always on here during the wee hours of the night all the time discussing single folks business, discussing everything else. Baby, at 2, 2, 3, 4 a.m. in the morning, you should be laid up with a full mouth and a fool, you know what? You shouldn't be always on the panels discussing single folks' business and discussing things. Where's your wife and husband?
And where you gonna get the sensibility from?
You so doggone happy with all the time. That just something that always tripped me out about these
Where you
marriage
gonna get the
folks.
wisdom from?
You always so say they so doggone happy, and they always on the TikTok somewhere arguing with folks in panels. And I be saying to myself, you know, that don't make, especially you got a spouse that come home every day. Some of the people, they husband and wife come home every day, and they spend more time on these panels talking with the panel than they talk their own husband and wife. And I just didn't ever understand that, you know. But
I agree with you. I think I want to say that I appreciate wisdom what you brought to the conversation, because ultimately one of the things that was really just kind of missed is that the family structure is super important as it relates to fixing the cyclical issue that's going on with the promiscuity and the fatherless children and the single family household. And you're absolutely right as it relates to the children that are raised in single family households. Some of the statistics that you mentioned are absolutely correct, because I'll tell you something: when you have a strong father in the household, there's a certain amount of things that just not going down. No, you're not about to be outside late at night. You're not about to be dressing promiscuously. You're not about to be on the internet with your cleavage hanging out, with your bottoms hanging out. You're not about to be twerking. And the boys also, the a strong father is going to uphold his son as well. You're not about to be out here, doing certain things. You're not about to be carrying no guns to school. You don't need to be out here trying to be a thug. You ain't no thug. Go to school. So there are a lot of things that are just simply missing in the nuclear family, because that's what it's looking like right now. There are a lot of things that are just simply missing that could literally change the trajectory of a lot of things that are going on. Now, also, London, or somebody mentioned um, good women, or I think it was London, good women being available. Yes, good women are available. The mindset, though, of the people that we're dealing with are the mindset of grown men and grown bodies, but they are still teenagers. They have not matured because, first off, like you said, when they are just being raised by their mothers, they don't have their father's perspective in their life. And that is very important. That is extremely important, to have your father's perspective, to teach to teach young boys anyway, how to grow up and how to, carry out a relationship, how to respect women, how to respect yourself. And there's a lot of men that just simply don't have that understanding. They out here, hopping around and having sex and having babies and dropping off babies and leaving, and they're not being taught responsibility either. So many things that you mentioned, wisdom. I just want to say thank you for that, because all of these things are so important, and this is all a part of the reasons why the decline of the marriage is occurring. There's so much more, but those are a part of the reasons as well.
backside, honey, when I'm walking off switching, because I'm having fun, I'm living my life, and I refuse to let society and anybody else, not saying that you are or anything, because you've been a pretty neutral and respectful person on this panel, and I appreciate the fact that you don't let anybody control your viewpoints, but they listen. They can see where the sun don't shine, because Miss Lonnie gonna enjoy her life. I'm not gonna let society force me into marriage. I'm not gonna let people use marriage to beat me down, and then I wind up somewhere miserable. I try to tell people, marriage is not all there is to life. Is marriage honorable to God? Yes, it is. But it ain't the only thing that there is to life for a woman nor for a man. And some people really need to take their time. They need to get to fully know themselves and enjoy life and do the things that they want to do. And then they ask, well, why is the divorce rate so high? Because you got all these people jumping into marriages for the wrong reason. And then they also are being pressured into getting married, because people want to push, oh, you need to get married, you need to be married. And they marrying folks they don't want to be with. to please their parents, to please society, to please the church. I want to be with a person that God has for me when I'm ready.
Right.
You know?
In that case, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with you waiting until you found the person that is going to be fulfilling for you in a relationship, and you can do the same for them. I mean, I think that's very important. So, and to kind of go back to some of the conversations about like single parenthood and things like that, I think that in that way, if you just like, no, I'm not trying to get married. First off, I'm not trying to pressure you about that. Like, I don't want to listen. I'm not going to try to pressure anybody about getting married before you're ready. But I also want to say, then okay, let's make sure that we're not out here having babies.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? Like, let's make sure we're not out here just having babies and dropping babies. You know, for
But no,
people
I
that
just feel I just
don't
feel
even
like
know.
we need to really address the problem out here. Like he speaks as if we in some, antebellum primitive time. We have men that's out here that's gay, that's down low homosexual.
For
We
sure.
have abusive men out here. We have Ponzi schemes. We have men that will have business and corporations like Portia husband that set up and very pretentious. It's a pretentious society. Let's be clear.
Right.
That say, oh, I own this, I have that, and you just have a lot of more scams, frauds. Everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses. People are not authentically who they are. You have AI, there's fake news. You have a lot of things,
Right.
in today's society. So to sit up there and just say, oh, we need to start with family. No, we need to start off with the mental health. We need to have men or someone teaching these young boys, because we cannot change the single mother epidemic, because the same single mothers are going to still have these same little girls that's probably going to lose their virginity at 12 years old.
Well,
It's
like
going to, and cycle's going to perpetuate itself.
well, see, and
So
that's
how do we fix
you.
the issue? He's saying, oh, we need to have family. Well, what if the family is what I was asking him?
Right.
It's not stable. It's an instability in the family mentally. They're smoking weed, they're drinking, and I'm not just saying like in different demographics.
Right.
There's drug abuse and use in all cultures. Fentanyl in the YT community, methamphetamine in the YT communities, it's everywhere. So
Right.
let's not just make it seem like it's, you have cocaine in Beverly Hills, you have it everywhere. So it's just not deemed to like impoverish blacks. It's everywhere.
If you notice a problem, it is okay to say that is a problem. I don't want that to be my life. I think I'd like to make a different choice and a different decision. So, yes, he's talking about family, but also we have to remember that we ourselves connect with our family, connect with people that we love. We ourselves have the ability to decide for ourselves whether or not to put ourselves in similar situations, right?
Ma'am, these kids, let's be real, ma'am. My patience is running thin right now. These mothers are sending their kids to the public school system. If I had children, I would have my child at home teaching my own child. But they sending their kids to the public school systems because they got to go work, right? So now their children are indoctrinated. So when he speak about family, how are we going to prevent that? Because the system have their kids. The system does,
Well,
you
I
know?
have children. I have
Yeah.
children. I've
But you
raised
probably have
two
you
children.
have your
Go
kids
ahead, love.
homeschooled.
All right. No, I didn't homeschool my children. I have
Okay.
I raised my niece and my nephew. My nephew, graduated top of his class. He's a six-figure earner in his early 20s, and he already has 8 units rented out, two 4-unit properties. I have a niece. I raised her. It was her little sister. She graduated from MSU. She's a occupational therapist. She's earning a great living. She's beautiful. She protects her body, and she's engaged right now to be married. I've got a son that just graduated from high school this year. He's going to a military academy. I've got another.
Yes.
What about the
Huh?
community?
I was going to say something about that.
Yeah, it's
Ultimately,
What about the
You
if
can
you
go.
don't,
community? What
I
about the
really,
kids
really
that
allow
don't
want
me
to
to
hear
have
what
that
finish,
he
if
has
you
to
don't
say.
mind.
stabilizing situation? That's
Allow me to
crazy.
Okay, okay,
finish, if
ladies.
you
Let's
don't
I'm
mind.
over
Let
it.
him. Let him finish
I
because I want
understand.
to.
Allow me to
Always
finish, if
starts
you
with
don't
the
mind,
self
Miss
too, though. Like,
Universe. Yeah,
it's still gonna start with the self. Like the answer is
yeah,
always gonna start with you.
yeah. The point I'm making is that if you pick a person to start a family with, that wants to start a family with you, and they have good values and good morals, then things aren't going to be perfect, but you guys will work through stuff and you'll get to the other side of it, and you'll watch your kids blossom and grow. And if you don't want to do that, then you will suffer and your children will suffer. And I understand that every family situation ain't perfect, but it's less perfect because when people are sitting up having babies all over the place, men and women, because the kids don't ask to be here. And what they need are both of their parents.
Pastors lying to the public, they ain't got the truth in them. Lights out, gas off, boot listed city pimping. Blocks on fire cause the homeowners broke as fuck. Taxes up, water bill higher than a civic truck. It's a bigger play, a bigger play. Death before dishonor is the only way. Yeah, I tried to follow but they led astray. Sorry but not sorry, can't trust what they say. It's a bigger